Chapter 792. Grand Elder, I don't have money for. Leng Ruoxia, are you afraid? I've always wanted to compete with you. Sun Ting tried to provoke Leng Ruoxia, seeing that she refused. Unfortunately, he found the wrong person. Just take it that I'm afraid. I can be an audience, but forget about the competition. Leng Ruo said nonchalantly. Sun Ting was a little dumbfounded. She didn't even care about his provocation, so he was at his wits' end. Swear, Leng Wudi refused to give up. He wanted to continue persuading her, but Leng Ruoxia didn't give him a chance. I don't know who came up with this idea, but tell the old men in the Elder Association not to have any ideas about me. I'm not that easy to plot against. Leng Ruoxia interrupted Leng Wudi and said bluntly. Alas. All right then. Leng Wudi was a little helpless. In fact, he had expected this result, but he still had to pretend. Miss Fengde and the others have been arrested. Suddenly, Lu Tao ran into the pavilion in a panic. She hurriedly shouted breathlessly when she saw her young miss. What happened? Leng Wudi asked hurriedly. Who arrested them? Leng Ruoxia was also a little curious. Fengde and the others were arrested? Could it be that someone attacked? A guard of the Leng family. Lu Tao looked at Leng Wudi and explained. What reason? Leng Ruoxia continued asking. He injured an esteemed guest. Lu Tao said angrily. They were also esteemed guests of the Leng family. Why were they treated differently? They were really too much of a bully. VIP? Who is it? Leng Ruoxia couldn't think of any VIP from the Leng family. It's the Sun family and the Lan family. Miss, they looked down on us and humiliated us. Fengde and the others were angry, so they taught them a lesson. However, the guards of the Leng family said that Fengde and the others caused trouble and locked our people in a cell. Lu Tao complained, her eyes red with anger. It's okay. Just treat it as being bitten by a dog. It seems like we don't match up with the people from the three major families. Leng Ruoxia looked at the three young masters in front of her, and said with a spurious smile. Swear, don't worry. I'll go see what's going on. Leng Wudi slipped away after speaking. Ooh. Swear's gaze was so terrifying that he couldn't bear it. Oh. I'll go back and take a look too. This should be a misunderstanding. Lan Lai, who was already a little embarrassed, hurriedly escaped. I'll go take a look too. Sun Ting found an excuse to leave when he saw that the two fellows actually ran away, not wanting to bear Leng Ruoxia's anger alone. Swear, shall we take a look? Empty asked curiously. There's no need to go. The Leng family will look for us later. However, if Fengde and the others lose a strand of hair, no one from the Lan and Sun families will be able to leave unscathed today. A cold light flashed in Leng Ruoxia's beautiful eyes, and killing intent rose quietly. As Leng Ruoxia expected, the elders of the Leng family came knocking an hour later. In the living room of the Snowfall Garden, Leng Ruoxia and the others sat in their chairs with relaxed expressions. They couldn't help laughing secretly as they looked at the two old men who were restless not far away. May I know why third elder and fifth elder are here? Leng Ruoxia pretended to be stupid, and didn't mention that her subordinates were locked up. Miss Leng, some of your subordinates were locked up in prison because of causing trouble. Third elder's heart was trembling. He finally finished explaining the cause, and most of his clothes were already wet. He couldn't understand why he was so nervous. In fact, he really didn't want to come this time. However, he had drawn the lots. Oh, are only my subordinates locked up? Or are all the troublemakers locked up? Leng Ruoxia raised her eyebrows slightly and asked with a faint smile. Of course the troublemakers are locked up. Miss Leng, don't doubt the fairness of our Leng family. Third elder wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and said anxiously. Well, he still had to protect the honor of the Leng family. Well, the Leng family is really fair, Leng Ruoxia said with a spurious smile, not exposing him. Did he really think she didn't know that the Lan and Sun families were locked up later? Miss Leng, actually this matter isn't big, but the effects are really too bad, so we hope that the three of you can resolve it peacefully. Third elder cleared his throat and said helplessly. How do we settle it peacefully? Leng Ruoxia asked with a smile. We suggest that you settle this dispute on the battlefield. You might not have really returned to the Leng family, But in terms of bloodline, you are a member of the Leng family after all, so we naturally don't want you to suffer a loss, third elder said very sincerely. In fact, he really thought so in his heart. The Lan and Sun families agree? Leng Ruoxua asked lightly. Yes, they don't want the matter to blow up either, so they are also satisfied if it can be resolved on the battlefield, third elder said. In that case, let's settle it on the field. However, I have to say the ugly things first. Blades have no eyes. I won't be responsible if anything happens to the elites of those two races. Leng Ruoxua said a little bloodthirsty. It's a competition. There will inevitably be injuries. Everyone will understand. Third elder didn't care too much about Leng Ruoxia's words. After all, Leng Ruoxua and the others were only great mystics in his eyes. On the contrary, he was more worried about their safety. Some people in the clan would definitely be happy if some of them were injured, and this was probably the goal of them using any means to want Leng Ruoxua and the others to participate in the competition. That's good. Leng Ruoxua nodded with satisfaction. Miss Leng, since you have to participate in the competition, our clan will give you 20 spots. At that time, perform well. Third elder continued. Okay, third elder, is there an age limit for the competition? Leng Ruoxua asked after some thought. Anyone below the age of 40 can participate, third elder explained. 40 years old. You can participate in such competitions at such an old age? Leng Ruoxua was in disbelief. Miss Leng, mystics below the age of 40 are children in our eyes. Anyone who can break through to mystic monarch before the age of 40 can be considered a genius. Similarly, such elites will also be specially nurtured by the clan, the fifth elder, who hadn't said a word, explained. Chapter 793. Grand Elder, I don't have money. 5. Oh. Leng Ruoxua nodded. Miss Leng, the competition will begin 3 days later. We will let her back later, the fifth elder promised. Then the two of them stood up and left. Schwer, looks like someone is being unreasonable again. Empty said with a light smile after third elder and fifth elder left. Okay, it'll make them regret it, Leng Ruoxua said with a bloodthirsty smile. A moment later, Fengda and the others walked into the living room with a smile. Mississippi. Fengda and the others quickly greeted her. Yes, Leng Ruoxua answered lightly. Miss, you don't care about us. Why didn't you ask if we were wronged? Lin Yuan couldn't help complaining seeing how indifferent his young miss was. If you can't even take care of yourselves, you don't have to follow me anymore. Leng Ruoxua looked at Lin Yuan with slight disdain. Miss. Lin Yuan looked at Leng Ruoxua resentfully with a long face. All right, stinky brats, stop pretending. How can those people be your match? Leng Qingtian couldn't take it anymore. These people were led astray by their granddaughter, and they especially liked to pretend to be pigs to eat tigers. That's right. If you don't get arrested willingly, I don't believe those guards can lock you up, the little old man echoed. It's okay to be locked up, but I won't let you go if you can't take care of yourself, Leng Ruoxua warned. Miss, don't worry. How can we dare to wrong ourselves? Fengda and the others hurriedly promised. Miss, we also felt that something was amiss, so we wanted to play along, Lin Yuan said ingratiatingly. Yes, you were released because I promised to participate in the competition in 3 days. We have 20 spots. You can discuss who will be fighting. Anyone below 40 can participate, Leng Ruoxua said lightly. Miss, what if we accidentally injure someone? Fengda couldn't help asking. Third elder said that blades have no eyes. It's inevitable that there will be injuries, Leng Ruoxua said very calmly. Have a good rest for the next 3 days. Don't leave the snowfall garden if there's nothing else. Leng Ruoxua pulled the freak out of the living room after speaking. At this moment, third elder and fifth elder, who had already left the snowfall garden, came directly to the grand elder's residence. Supreme elder, Miss Leng has already agreed to participate in the competition 3 days later. Third elder said very respectfully. Yes, congratulations on completing the mission. Leng Qinya smiled and then took a sip of tea. Supreme elder, I'm afraid that this matter will be inappropriate, so if you're willing to step forward to stop it, I think Leng Xing and the others will definitely give in, third elder said worriedly. Alas! He really didn't want Leng Ruoxue and the others to suffer any injuries. Otherwise, this seemingly amiable man in front of him might wash the Leng family with blood. Why should I stop him? Give me a reason. Leng Qinya smiled evilly. Leng Ruoxue and the others are the descendants of your line. You can't watch them jump into the fire pit. This competition. Third Elder stopped talking halfway, because he believed that the Supreme Elder would understand what he meant. However, he didn't really understand what the Supreme Elder meant. He couldn't understand why the Supreme Elder didn't stop his descendants from jumping into the pit, even though he knew that the competition this time was not simple. It's true that Leng Ruoxue's grandfather, and granddaughter are my descendants, but I can't play favorites if her subordinates cause trouble. That will make the other clansmen displeased. Leng Qinya said helplessly. Third Elder was speechless and couldn't help but grumble in his heart. You obviously want to watch the commotion, but you still say it so pompously. Didn't you think that with your status, no one would dare to be displeased as long as you said it? However, he could also see that the Grand Elder was most likely very confident in Leng Ruoxue and the others. Otherwise, he would have probably appeared long ago. Thinking of this, he very tactfully pulled the Fifth Elder away and said goodbye. After exiting Leng Qianye's yard, the Fifth Elder looked at the Third Elder in puzzlement and asked, "Are we leaving just like that? Many people will be unlucky if anything happens to Leng Ruoxue and the others. Someone will probably be in trouble even if nothing happens to Leng Ruoxue and the others. Alas! Let's not get involved. Let's just watch the commotion," Third Elder said helplessly. It seemed like the Leng family was about to change. That's the only way. The Fifth Elder was also very helpless, but there was nothing he could do. 3 days later, the competition held every 10 years by the Leng family, the Lan family, and the Sun family officially began. The competition was arranged to be held in the largest martial arts arena in the Leng family's mansion. At this moment, the stage had been set up, and the main stage and the seats that could accommodate hundreds of spectators had been set up. However, because it was an internal competition, almost all the people who were lucky enough to watch the competition were members of the Leng family, as well as a small portion of the Lan and Sun families. The atmosphere in the arena became more and more enthusiastic as the guests and audience entered the stage one after another. The lively atmosphere deliberately created by the Leng family also infected everyone present. Soon everyone from the Leng family, the Lan family, and the Sun family arrived, but Leng Ruoxue and the others were nowhere to be seen. Leng Ruoxue is too much. How dare she be late for such an important competition? Leng Rume accused loudly in front of everyone, and her words naturally entered the ears of the people sitting on the stage. I really didn't expect Leng Ruoxue to be from your Leng family, an old man said coldly on the stage. Second Elder knows my junior? Leng Yimin, who was sitting in the middle, looked at the Second Elder of the Lan family, and asked curiously, well, why was Leng Ruoxue related to the Second Elder of the Lan family? For some reason he felt a little uneasy. Yes, I will know her even if she turns to ashes, the Second Elder of the Lan family said through gritted teeth. Ooh, how could he forget? That was the first time he had massaged the soles of a bird's feet in his life. Thinking of this, he couldn't help turning his gaze to Leng Xing and asking with his eyes, could the person you want to deal with be Leng Ruoxue? Chapter 794. Grand Elder, I don't have money. 6. Leng Xing, who was not far away, nodded imperceptibly when he received the Second Elder's gaze. The Second Elder was immediately overjoyed when he saw this. This was really good news for him. However, why didn't Leng Xing tell him earlier that the person he wanted to deal with was Leng Ruoxue? It also made him happy. He complained a little in his heart, but their expressions immediately returned to normal. Leng Yimin's unease deepened after hearing what the Second Elder of the Lan family said. Therefore, he ignored the glances exchanged between the Second Elder and Leng Xing. Seems like Leng Ruoxue should be considered the new elite of your Leng family. She's so famous that even the Second Elder of the Lan family knows about her. Well, I have to get to know her well later. The Sixth Elder of the Sun family said with a light smile and a teasing tone. He was also the leading elder of the Sun family this time. Sixth Elder, Leng Ruoxue is just a child. She's not worth mentioning, Leng Yimin said helplessly. Boo. Why were these people so interested in Leng Ruoxue? I'm afraid you're not an ordinary child if you're appreciated by the second elder of the Lan family. Patriarch Leng, don't be humble. You should be proud that the Leng family has such a junior. The sixth elder of the Sun family said with envy. Proud my ass. Leng Ruoxue didn't admit that she was from the Leng family at all. Leng Yimin couldn't help but grumble in his heart. If possible, he really didn't want Leng Ruoxue to participate in the competition. However, things were no longer under his control. Alas! He hoped that nothing bad would happen. He prayed sincerely. At the same time, Leng Ruoxue and the others were walking into the arena. Leng Ruoxue and the others walked into the competition venue unhurriedly and swaggeringly. Then, they were led to the side of the stage by the guards. At this moment, the preparation area on the side of the stage was already full of people. However, after seeing them, everyone present revealed expressions of being unfriendly, mocking, or watching the commotion. Leng Ruoxue, how dare you only come now? Leng Rume glared at Leng Ruoxue as if she was her enemy and questioned her fiercely. What? The competition has already begun? Leng Ruoxue's beautiful face was full of question marks. The competition is about to begin, Leng Rume said furiously. She originally wanted to humiliate Leng Ruoxue in public before the competition began, but she didn't expect them to come so late. Damn it, there was not much time left now. It hasn't begun yet. Moreover, we're not the first to go on stage, so there's no hurry. Leng Ruoxue said nonchalantly. You, Leng Rume pointed at Leng Ruoxue, so angry that she couldn't speak. Rume, why lower yourself to the level of a person who has never seen the world? It will lower our taste. We are the daughters of the three great super families. We have to pay attention to our identities. At this moment, a woman in blue walked over and said with a face full of disdain. Fair is right. It's beneath my status to bicker with such a bumpkin, Leng Rume said arrogantly. Isn't this Miss Lan Fei? Why, Lan Ninger's reputation is ruined. Is it your turn to take the throne now? Leng Ruoxue looked at Lan Fei with a spurious smile, and said lightly, Who are you? How do you know me? Lan Fei looked at the drop-dead gorgeous beauty in front of her, and gritted her teeth in hatred. Damn it! Was it not her turn to stand up without Lan Ninger? Why did another woman more beautiful than Lan Ninger appear? Fortunately, this woman was hated by Leng Rume, so she could be considered to have an ally. Thinking of this, she was even more confident. Miss Lan Fei, I'm Leng Ruoxue. We met once in Blue Cloud City. Leng Ruoxue reminded with a light smile. You're that ugly freak? Lan Fei was shocked. How was this possible? She really didn't associate the Leng Ruoxue Leng Rume mentioned with the ugly freak she had seen before. This contrast was really too big. Seems like Miss Lan Fei's memory isn't really bad. By the way, is the patriarch of the Lan family okay? Leng Ruoxue asked with a smile. Okay, Lan Fei said fearfully. Ooh. If she knew that the woman in front of her was the same person as that ugly freak, she definitely wouldn't have dared to say anything just now. She had a deep understanding of Leng Ruoxue's terror when she was in the Lan family, so she really regretted it to death now. Ooh. She didn't want anyone to save her like Lan Ning. Suddenly, from the corner of her eye, she saw Leng Wudi and the others walking over, and she ran in Leng Wudi's direction without hesitation. Young Master Leng. Lan Fei ran to Leng Wudi's side panting, her beautiful face still slightly fearful. Miss Lan, what's wrong? Leng Wudi was a little puzzled. He didn't have a good impression of Lan Fei, but she was a guest. He had to pretend no matter how annoying he was. Alas. Thinking of this, he realized that he really envied the lives of Leng Ruoxue and the others. And nothing. Of course, Lan Fei couldn't say that she was scared by Leng Ruoxue. However, this was another good opportunity to pretend to be weak. She also didn't want to give up. Leng Wudi and the others had already walked toward Leng Ruoxue, and the others while she was weighing the pros and cons. She stomped her feet in anger and hurriedly followed after them. Swear, be careful when you go on stage later. There are many geniuses from the Lan and Sun families. Leng Wudi reminded her. He knew that Leng Ruoxue had many powerful beasts, but he was not sure how strong Leng Ruoxue was now. Therefore, he was more or less a little worried. Beast pets were not allowed in this competition, so he was even more worried for Leng Ruoxue and the others. Okay, we will be careful, Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. You have to be careful. You might even die. Leng Rume gloated again. Miss Leng Rume, no one will think you're a mute even if you don't speak. Really, I promise, Leng Ruoxue said seriously. Her words also caused Fengde and the others to laugh. Even Leng Wudi and the others couldn't help but laugh, and there were even more people laughing secretly. Chapter 795. Infernal Affairs 1. Leng Ruoxue, you really deserve to die. However, don't worry, I won't attack you in private. Hopefully, we have the chance to compete on the field. At that time, I'll definitely let you know my power, Leng Rume said confidently. Okay, I'll wait. By the way, how are your grandfather's injuries? They should be healed. Leng Ruoxue asked anxiously with a face full of concern. Humph. Of course it's good. There's no need for you to pretend to be compassionate. Leng Rume gritted her teeth and said fiercely. Miss Rume, you're mistaken. I'm not concerned about your grandfather. I'm thinking that if his injuries have healed, I'll pay him another 100 amethyst dollars and let my subordinates beat him up one by one. You don't know that old man isn't good at enduring beatings. Last time my subordinates didn't have enough. Leng Ruoxue said with dissatisfaction. Pfft. Leng Wudi couldn't help but laugh after hearing Leng Ruoxue's words. Haha. Shuang was really sharp-tongued. That old man had almost lost his face since he was beaten up. But Shuang actually wanted to beat him up. She was really too evil. However, that evil really looked cute no matter how he looked at it. Damn it, just you wait. Leng Rume was so angry that her eyes burned with raging anger as she glared at Leng Ruoxue and threatened. Haven't I been waiting? Miss Leng Rume, you have to be fast. I might leave at any time. Leng Ruoxue reminded. Humph. You're courting death. Don't blame me. Leng Rume left the preparation area angrily after speaking. Shuang, is it okay to anger her like this? She has Leng Xing backing her up now. It will be impossible to guard against her if she does anything underhanded on the field. Leng Wudi said worriedly when he saw Leng Rume leave. Young Master Leng, thank you for your concern, but you should pay more attention to Leng Rume. She will definitely be the unlucky one if you anger me. Moreover, someone will definitely pay a painful price unless I don't attack. Leng Ruoxue half warned and half reminded. I don't have the right to care about her. However, if anything happens to her, my mother will definitely be grateful to you. Leng Wudi said understandingly. Alas! His mother would probably say that he didn't acknowledge this sister for nothing. But there will also be people from the Leng family who want to kill me. Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. Are you afraid? Leng Wudi asked speechlessly. How do you spell fear? Leng Ruoxue raised her eyebrows and asked calmly. I knew you wouldn't be afraid. Leng Wudi sighed and said helplessly. Alas! Leng Ruoxue had only returned to the Leng family for a few days, but it had already driven many clansmen crazy, especially his father. He wanted to laugh happily every time he saw his father's conflicted expression. Shuang, I think I see a familiar face. The freak looked at the stage and said to Shuang with a light smile. Yes, I saw the second elder of the Lan family too. Leng Ruoxue looked at Lan Lai and said lightly. Lan Lai's heart trembled under Leng Ruoxue's seemingly casual gaze. Oh, could it be that the second elder was going to be unlucky again? Will the two of you go on stage later? Leng Ruoxue looked at Lan Lai and Sun Tong. I'm not going. Me neither. The two of them said almost in unison. However, I want to fight you in private. Sun Ting stared at the freak with a fervent gaze. Don't have any designs about my man. Leng Ruoxue pretended to be displeased. Don't misunderstand. I'm not interested in him. I just want to compete with him, Sun Ting said speechlessly. I'm not interested, the freak said coldly without even looking up. Freak, let's go greet the second elder of the Lan family. Leng Ruoxue smiled evilly at the freak. Okay. The freak was very cooperative. After speaking, the two of them walked to the stage together. On the main stage, The second elder of the Lan family looked at the stunning man and woman with a spurious smile in front of him, and his heart trembled. Boo. He already knew that these two people were Leng Ruoxue and her fiancé. What are you doing? The second elder of the Lan family looked at Leng Ruoxue, and the freak like a little wife, his voice trembling a little. Could he go back on his word now? Could he not participate in Leng Xing's plan? He didn't expect Leng Ruoxue to give him so much pressure herself. Boo. He was really scared now. Second elder of the Lan family, long time no see. We just came to greet you. Don't be scared. Oh right, big sister Linger misses you too. I wonder when you have time to serve it again. We will pay for it this time. Leng Ruoxue smiled very evilly, so her words actually made the others sitting beside second elder misunderstand. At this moment everyone, including Leng Yimin, looked at the second elder of the Lan family with very suggestive gazes, thinking, oh, this old man is already so old and doesn't look good, but there are actually women who like him, and are even willing to spend money for him in an unforgettable manner. It's really enviable, jealous and hateful. I don't have time. I'm very busy. The second elder of the Lan family wanted to cry but had no tears. He could also feel the gazes of others, but he could say that the big sister Linger Leng Ruoxue was talking about was a bird. Could he say that she just wanted him to give her a foot massage? Boo. Wouldn't that be even more embarrassing for him? Most importantly, probably no one would believe her. It's okay. We can wait. Alas. Big sister Linger said that you're skilled and can't forget you. I can't do anything either. Leng Ruoxue continued to add oil to the fire. Good technique? Leng Yimin and the others immediately understood when they heard that. So this old man Zhao was skillful. Well, no wonder. At this moment, someone secretly decided that they would ask the second elder of the Lan family for a few moves if they had the chance. The second elder of the Lan family really didn't know what to say after Leng Ruoxue's promotion. Boo. At this moment he was very regretful. He regretted coming to the Leng family, and even more so regretted getting involved in Leng Xing's plan. If this little demon knew that he had a part in it, he would probably not let him go. However, it was too late to say anything now. Alas. The excitement he had when he knew that Leng Xing wanted to deal with Leng Ruoxue had long disappeared without a trace after seeing Leng Ruoxue herself. All that was left now was fear. Chapter 796. Infernal Affairs 2, You what? Leng Ruoxue asked the advisor. I don't have time in the future, so let it find someone else. The Lan family's second elder said with a long face. You're so busy. It's okay. I'll find the Lan family head personally when I have time and ask him to give you a break. A talent with special skills like you can't be exhausted. Leng Ruoxue said without thinking. Patriarch doesn't have time either. Patriarch is in seclusion. Second elder Lan said hurriedly. In seclusion? It's okay. I'll look for the Lan family's first elder. Don't tell me he's in seclusion too. Leng Ruoxue's beautiful eyes stared at the Lan family's second elder doubtfully. He didn't enter seclusion, but he's not in the Lan family now. He went out to train. I don't know when he will return. The second elder of the Lan family said after some thought. Boo. He wanted to say that the first elder of the Lan family was in seclusion, but he knew that this little demon would definitely not believe him. Oh, who's in charge of the Lan family now? Leng Ruoxue asked with some amusement. Elder Group, the important affairs of the Lan family are now decided by the Elder Group for the time being. Second elder quickly said he really admired himself to death. He didn't believe that this little demon could look for the elders of the Lan family one by one. The elders? Seems like there's nothing wrong with the Lan family. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. Coincidentally, Leng Wudi and the others walked over again. What do you mean? Lan Lai's face was full of question marks. It's okay, it's okay. The second elder of the Lan family interrupted. Cold sweat rolled down his forehead. Young Master Lan, I heard that the current Lan family is decided by the elders? Leng Ruoxue's beautiful face was full of curiosity. How is that possible? That old man is alive and well. Lan Lai said irritably. But I heard from second elder Lan that Leng Ruoxue deliberately only said half a sentence. Then she raised her beautiful eyes and looked at the second elder of the Lan family. Miss Leng, I'll look for you when I have time, the second elder of the Lan family promised. Okay, tonight then. I'll get big sister Linger to wait for you in the snowfall garden. Leng Ruoxue smiled suggestively and left the stage with the freak after speaking. Second elder Lan, congratulations. Leng Yimin and the others congratulated the second elder of the Lan family politely as soon as Leng Ruoxue left. Some of them were even scheming in their hearts, not knowing when they would be able to attend the second elder's wedding. After all, it was only a matter of time before the girl couldn't forget him. Thank you. The second elder of the Lan family had a long face. He braced himself and accepted the congratulations of everyone present, but he was so depressed that he wanted to bang his head against the wall. Ooh. Is there any good news, second elder? The question marks on Lan Lai's face increased. Hehe. Young Master Lan, your second elder is about to bloom, and it's the blooming of an old tree. Your Lan family will have a happy occasion soon. An elder from the Leng family interrupted. Oh, congratulations, second elder. Lan Lai congratulated him according to customs even though he was a little lost. In fact, he knew very well that it was impossible for the second elder to have a happy occasion when it involved Leng Ruoxue. Alas, it was good enough not to hold a funeral. Young master. The second elder of the Lan family looked at Lan Lai resentfully, wanting to cry but had no tears. There's no need to explain. I understand, Lan Lai said sympathetically. However, he couldn't help the second elder. Alas, second elder, your life can still be saved as long as you do as Leng Ruoxue says obediently. He signaled the second elder with his eyes. The second elder of the Lan family nodded understandingly. Ooh, he couldn't be blamed for being useless. The impression Leng Ruoxue gave him was really too deep. However, it had been so long, and he thought that he had forgotten. However, he only knew that not only did he not forget after seeing Leng Ruoxue, but his fear for Leng Ruoxue and the others had already seeped into his bones. What should he do? He was so conflicted. The second elder of the Lan family had been struggling on the stage, and the competition began on time. After the competition began, the participants went on stage one by one in the order they had drawn beforehand. Leng Ruoxue and the others sat by the stage without interest, eating and chatting. Miss, the level of this competition is too low. It's really too boring. Lu Tao ate her snacks and glanced at the two sides fighting furiously on the stage, saying disdainfully, Her horizons were becoming wider and wider as she advanced to Mystic Empress. She couldn't care less about such a level of competition, but she had to participate again. She was really too helpless. Don't look if you don't like it. They compete with them. Well, eat ours, Leng Ruoxue said nonchalantly. However, their casualness displeased many of the participants. Referee, everyone is competing, but they are eating and drinking here. How can we compete? A disciple of the Sun family accused, very displeased. That's right, this is too much. This is simply desecrating the competition. Referee, on behalf of all the participants, I strongly request that they be disqualified from the competition. After someone stood up, someone began to echo. Leng Rumei looked at Leng Ruoxue proudly and pleaded impartially. Referee, eating in the competition venue is indeed inappropriate. However, on the account that they are first offenders, give them another chance. All right. On the account that Miss Rumei pleaded for you, I'll warn you once. You're not allowed to eat anymore, the referee said loudly. To be honest, he really didn't want to care about this matter. However, it had already aroused public anger, so he couldn't pretend not to see it. Ooh. He was in a very difficult position. Unfortunately, Leng Ruoxue and the others didn't seem to hear the referee and continued doing what they were doing. Don't say that the grapes are sour just because you can't eat them. You can also eat them if you want to see us eat them. Fonda said nonchalantly. He even took out firewood from his ring to grill the meat. You. The referee was so angry that he couldn't say anything when he saw this situation. He simply walked to the other side of the field. Anyway, he was not the only referee in the competition. He should leave this matter to others to have a headache. Feng De and the others grilled the meat as if no one was around when they saw the referee leave. Everyone present could only stare angrily. Chapter 797. Infernal Affairs 3. Your behavior is really too much. How can you treat such an important competition as child's play? Leng Rume accused them with some disappointment. Miss Leng Rume, we're not familiar with you. Leng Ruoxia said with some amusement. She really didn't know why Leng Rume pretended to be the head of the family. You really don't know what's good for you, Leng Rume said angrily, and then turned to leave angrily. Miss, is Leng Rume mentally abnormal? Lu Tao asked in puzzlement. What do you mean? Leng Ruoxia was curious. Sometimes she treats us as her enemies, and sometimes she seems to treat us as the Leng family. She always wants to control us so that she can show her identity as the eldest daughter of the Leng family. Lu Tao said after some thought. Okay, just treat her as mentally abnormal. Don't worry about her. Leng Ruoxia said with a light smile. Yes, Mississippi. It's my turn. Lu Tao walked directly to the stage. Leng Ruoxia and the others turned their gazes to the stage after seeing Lu Tao go on stage. Lu Tao's opponent was from the Sun family, and it was a mystic monarch. Beauty, I will let you go if you are willing to admit defeat. Moreover, I promise I will love you well, and make you want to die. On the stage, a greasy-haired and pink-faced young man was looking at Lu Tao wretchedly, his lecherous eyes still patrolling the important parts of Lu Tao's body. Whose master are you? I'll castrate you if you spout nonsense. Lu Tao said furiously. Damn it, how dare you tease me? At this moment, the man opposite her was already a dead man in her eyes. Lu Tao, castrate him. Feng De roared furiously from below the stage. Damn, how dare he tease his woman? This brat from the Sun family really didn't want to live anymore. Lu Tao and Feng De's words made many of the people present break out in cold sweat, because these words were really too valiant. A great mystic actually said that he wanted to castrate a mystic monarch. Wasn't this a joke? However, no one dared to treat the subsequent scene as a joke. That was because Lu Tao, who was on the stage, unceremoniously released a ray of light blue mystic energy at the man opposite her after receiving Feng De's encouragement. And her target was the most important part of the man's body. Immediately, there was a scream of pain, and the man on the stage covered the main part of the stage with his hand, and fell onto the stage with a cry of pain. Lu Tao's set of actions was really too fast, and many people had already achieved the truth before they could react. Referee, is the competition still continuing? Lu Tao looked disdainfully at the man lying on the stage, and asked the referee, whose face was a little pale. No. There's no need to compete, the referee stammered. What was there to compete? This woman was really too ruthless. She actually really castrated him when she said castrate. This person was from the Sun family. What should he do? I should have won, right? Lu Tao asked uncertainly. Yes, you won. The referee was a little conflicted, but he didn't dare to offend this terrifying woman in front of him. He wouldn't be able to cry if she killed him in a fit of anger. It was really too terrifying. He had lingering fears. Soon, someone from the Sun family, who had become a eunuch, was carried down. The sixth elder of the Sun family, who saw this scene on the stage, almost fainted. On the main stage, Patriarch Leng, your Leng family is too ruthless. Shouldn't you give our Sun family an explanation? The sixth elder of the Sun family questioned angrily with a black face. Leng Yimin was very depressed. In fact, he really wanted to say that they asked for it, but he really couldn't say it because of the relationship between the two parties. Sixth elder, calm down. In fact, this isn't a big deal. It's just that it broke. It can still be connected if you take the pill in time, so you don't have to be angry over such a small matter. Injuries are unavoidable on the competition stage. The third elder of the Leng family laughed as a mediator and comforted. Yes. Sixth elder, this isn't a big deal. Moreover, there's a reason for it. The young lady won't be angry if your Sun family's disciple didn't spout nonsense. Moreover, that thing can be reattached. It won't affect your daily life. The fifth elder of the Leng family, who was wearing the same pants as third elder, hurriedly echoed. You. The sixth elder was a little speechless. Humph. Repeat. It was easy to say. Even if it was reattached, it would not be original, and some functions would not be there, and it would be no different from a cripple. Thinking of this, he was so angry. However, even though he was angry, he also knew whose territory this was, so he did not dare to be too presumptuous. Sixth Elder, your Sun family is going against Leng Ruoxia's subordinates again. The second elder of the Lan family couldn't help reminding. Ooh, demon. That woman's subordinates were also a group of demons. They were really too terrifying. Oh, the sixth elder of the Sun family hurriedly turned his gaze to the stage when he heard that, and his nervous heart was about to jump out. Ooh, don't let something like this happen again, because Leng Ruoxia's side had another woman on the stage. On the stage? Cuizhu looked at her opponent with some disgust, her clear eyes still full of contempt. She said impatiently, "Let's begin quickly. Don't delay my barbecue." "You stinky girl, don't worry. I will definitely teach you a lesson," another unlucky person from the Sun family said arrogantly. He wanted to avenge his brother. "Okay then, hurry up," Cuizhu urged anxiously. Ooh, her grilled meat. It would be eaten up by those big stomachs later. "Stinky girl, take this." The unlucky person from the Sun family took the lead to attack. Cuizhu on the stage calmly released a water curtain in front of him, and then launched a huge meteor shower. In an instant, countless light blue rain swords attacked his opponent. With a scream, the unlucky person from the Sun family also covered an important part of his body and fell onto the stage. Seeing this scene, almost everyone's hearts jumped crazily on the field except for Leng Ruoxia and the others. Bean-sized sweat dripped down the foreheads of many male compatriots. Chapter 798. Infernal Affairs 4. 5 minutes passed and the Sun family who had collapsed on the stage didn't react. The referee walked forward stiffly and took a look. Well, fortunately he was still breathing. Cuizhu wins, the referee announced loudly after confirming. Miss, I won. Cuizhu ran off the stage like a little bird happily, and then picked up the surviving grilled meat to eat in big mouthfuls. Yes, well done, Leng Ruoxia praised. Cuizhu seemed to have grown a lot. Miss, we still have 3 rounds of competition today. Then we can go back and rest. Fonda looked at the schedule and said, "Okay, let's end this quickly. The second elder of the Lan family still wants to come tonight." Leng Ruoxia reminded with a light smile. Fonda and the others stole a glance at the frowning second elder of the Lan family on the main stage, their hearts full of infinite sympathy for him. Alas, poor fellow was targeted by their young miss again. As time passed, the competition continued in full swing. Leng Ruoxia's side quickly finished all the competitions today and won in seconds. Leng Ruoxia and the others left the arena directly and returned to the Snowfall Garden after today's competition ended. Leng Shuang, whom he had not seen for a few days, came knocking on his door not long after he returned to the Snowfall Garden. "Sister, I heard that your people will show off their might today." Leng Shuang sat opposite Leng Ruoxia in the garden and said happily. "Fortunately, it's mainly because those people are too weak," Leng Ruoxia said nonchalantly. "Too weak?" Leng Shuang was a little speechless. She thought, "Your opponents look stronger than you. Big sister, haven't you been busy these few days? Why are you free to come today?" Leng Ruoxia changed the topic. "Sister, I heard that your 2 maidservants castrated the Sun family. I was worried, so I hurriedly came to remind you," Leng Shuang said helplessly. "Big sister, don't worry. I know what to do," Leng Ruoxia said gratefully. "That's good. The Sun family is despicable, so you have to be careful. However, I believe that the Sun family won't dare to do anything to you as long as you don't leave proud Cold City," Leng Shuang said after some thought. "Okay, I'll be careful," Leng Ruoxia said. "Sister, I've said what I wanted to say. I'll go back first. I'll visit you after I'm done for the next few days." Leng Shuang stood up and left. Leng Ruoxia returned to the garden after sending Leng Shuang out of the Snowfall Garden. After dinner, everyone sat in the garden and admired the beautiful moonlight while waiting for the second elder of the Lan family. However, the old man still didn't come late at night. "Miss, could that old man be scared?" It's already so late and he's not here yet. He probably won't come, Xing complained. Damn it. How dare he stand his young miss up? He wouldn't let that old man go. Calm down, he will come. He won't dare not to come. Leng Ruoxue was very sure. Sure enough, not long after Leng Ruoxue finished speaking, the second elder of the Lan family came to the Snowfall Garden sneakily. After seeing Leng Ruoxue and the others, the second elder was so nervous that his entire body was trembling. Leng Ruoxue, I am here. What do you want? The second elder of the Lan family mustered his courage and asked softly with a trembling voice. The expression on his face was as if he was about to be. Second elder, don't be scared. We're old acquaintances. I won't bully you. Leng Ruoxue comforted with a light smile. Well, she really didn't understand why this second elder was so afraid of her. The second elder of the Lan family looked at Leng Ruoxue with a long face, his heart racing. You bullied me a lot. Boo-hoo. He had already thought about not participating in Leng Xing's plan, because he really didn't think Leng Xing would win. Alas! This was a decision he had thought for several hours. The two disciples who had been castrated from the Sun family also helped him confirm his stand. After all, he didn't want the disciples of the Lan family to become useless too. Therefore, he would not cooperate with whoever wanted to cooperate. Leng Ruoxue, I'll tell you Leng Xing's plan. Can you let me go? The second elder of the Lan family pleaded with a bitter face. Second elder is very sensible. However, you can tell me first. I won't pursue your mistake if it's valuable. Leng Ruoxue smiled like a little fox. All right. The second elder of the Lan family had no choice but to tell Leng Xing's plan in detail to Leng Ruoxue. After speaking, he even looked at Leng Ruoxue carefully. His gaze was like a puppy wagging its tail pitifully, very pitiful. That's all. Leng Ruoxue asked with dissatisfaction because this plan was really too childish. Alas! How could Leng Xing think of such a lousy plan after living for so long? It was really too disappointing. Yes, the sixth elder of the Sun family and I were both present at that time. However, I don't know if he sought out the sixth elder in private. The second elder of the Lan family said honestly. In fact, to be honest, Leng Xing's plan might be very effective against others. Unfortunately, the person he wanted to deal with was Leng Ruoxue. He didn't dare to imagine the consequences of the people who participated in this plan, so it was not too late to hope that he would surrender. Oh, second elder, I'm very disappointed in your plan. Tell me, what should we do? Leng Ruoxue said with seeming distress. Miss Leng, please don't count me in. I'll apologize to you for what happened previously. I won't participate in the rest, okay? The second elder of the Lan family pleaded. Boo. He really regretted coming to the Leng family. If he had known that this little demon was in the Leng family and gave him so much pressure, he wouldn't have come even if he said he would die. However, he also hated Leng Xing for not telling him clearly back then because Leng Xing only said that he wanted to deal with a junior in the family, who didn't know the rules and contradicted him. Therefore, he should be considered a victim of the deception, right? No, you have to continue participating, Leng Ruoxue said with a naughty smile. Why? I really don't want to participate anymore. Miss Leng, let me go. I know I was wrong. The second elder of the Lan family wailed uselessly. Who will be my undercover if you don't participate? You have to inform me in time if Leng Xing's plan changes. Leng Ruoxue said matter-of-factly. Chapter 799. Infernal Affairs 5. Miss Leng, I'm afraid Leng Xing doesn't believe me anymore, the second elder of the Lan family said aggrievedly. Leng Xing's gaze at him had become abnormal since Leng Ruoxue said those misunderstood words in front of the stage. He will believe you more if you tell him what happened between us, Leng Ruoxue said understandingly. No. I can't tell you. It's really too embarrassing. The second elder of the Lan family's face flushed red. Boo. How could he survive in the three great superfamilies in the future if news of this spread? Then think of a way yourself. Anyway, you have to continue colluding with them. Leng Ruoxue reminded. Her words full of threat. Then all right then. The second elder of the Lan family was very helpless. He was on a pirate ship. Moreover, they were from 2 families, so he couldn't get off even if he wanted to. Second Elder Lan, it's getting late. Rest early. Leng Ruoxue ordered him to leave after the discussion, and she dragged the freak back to her room. The next day, the competition continued. The second elder of the Lan family only came to the main stage after the competition began. However, he felt countless suggestive gazes sweeping over him before he sat down. I'm sorry. I woke up late today. The second elder of the Lan family explained gloomily. It's okay. We understand. Oh. Second elder is really strong despite his age. I'm envious. Second elder, it must have been tough yesterday. Second elder, we cultivators should still focus on cultivation. Everything else is fleeting. The second elder of the Lan family was even more depressed as he listened to everyone's words. He didn't expect his explanation to actually attract countless guesses. Among them were understanding, jealous, envious, reminded, comforted. Damn, what was going on? He really wanted to knock into Tofu. However, everyone present was of equal status to him, so he couldn't vent his anger on them even if he was angry. Second elder, beauty is a hindrance. You have to be careful not to fall for my honey trap. Leng Xing, who had been silent, reminded eccentrically, his eyes full of warning. Senior Leng, you're mistaken. I'll explain it to you when I have time. The second elder of the Lan family smiled bitterly, and approached Leng Xing and said softly, Okay. Leng Xing nodded. Then he stopped talking and turned his gaze to the stage. He didn't know how Leng Ruoxue and the others would perform in today's competition. However, this was only the beginning, so don't worry. The show was still coming. On the second day of the competition, Leng Ruoxue and the others all went on stage. However, the result of the competition was still the same as the previous day. All of them were instantly killed. On the third day, the fourth day, it was still the same. On the fifth day of the competition, only 50 people were left on the field. Leng Ruoxue and the others occupied 20 spots among these 50 people, and the other 30 spots were divided equally among the other 3 families. The 3 families each sent out 50 disciples for this competition. After the 4-day preliminaries, the Lan family and the Sun family were almost wiped out except for the Leng family. The disciples who stayed on the field were not very strong. And this situation did not prevent the Sun family's 6th elder and Leng Xing from burning with anger. As for the second elder of the Lan family, he was well aware of the result. After all, he had long known the result. At this moment, he couldn't help but be a little glad that he had surrendered long ago. Otherwise, the disciples of the Lan family would probably be like the Sun family. It was a tragic sight. Even though there were many injuries on the bodies of the Lan family disciples, which looked quite terrifying, he knew that those were only superficial wounds, while the people from the Sun family were genuine injuries. At this moment, Leng Xing knew very well that it was probably impossible to fight alone. Therefore, once the 3 families studied it, they changed the rules of the competition, changing from one-on-one battles to a group chaotic battle. Therefore, the 5th day of the competition was a chaotic battle. Leng Ruoxue smiled happily after hearing this news because the competition was about to end in her eyes. The 5th day of the competition finally began with Leng Ruoxue and the others' anticipation. In the competition venue, Leng Ruoxue and the others deliberately sat quietly and thoughtfully by the side of the stage after hearing the new rules announced by the referee. What a pity. I didn't expect the rules of the competition to change. Leng Rume walked to Leng Ruoxue and the others with a face full of pity and gloated. Unfortunately, Leng Ruoxue and the others ignored her. Leng Rume left angrily after finding trouble with herself. Miss, I really don't understand why she's so happy. Lu Tao looked at Leng Rume leaving in puzzlement. Haha. She thinks she can finally deal with us. Leng Ruoxue said in realization. Well, hopefully, today's competition could all end. She didn't want to participate in such a childish competition for another day. Oh, no wonder. Lu Tao said in realization, but she felt pity for Leng Rume and the others. Everyone, be alert when you go on stage later, Leng Ruoxue reminded. The stage today was several times larger than before, specially prepared for the chaotic battle. There would be more situations if the stage was larger, and there were more people competing, Accidents might happen at any time, so there would probably be many things today. After a while, Leng Ruoxue and the others had already stood on the stage. The competition officially began with the referee's whistle. According to the rules of today's competition, 20 people should be eliminated. However, with Leng Ruoxue and the others discussed for the competition, it was naturally impossible to let this boring competition continue. Therefore, they wanted to take advantage of today to get rid of all the disciples of the three major families who were participating in the competition at once. Leng Ruoxue and the others stood on the stage. No one attacked first, only observing each other. Not only that, the two sides were divided into two camps. Leng Ruoxue and the others stood together, and the other 30 people stood on the other side of the stage. Referee. Does one lose the right to continue competing if they are off the stage? Leng Ruoxue suddenly asked. Chapter 800, First Encounter with the Old Ancestor 1, Yes. The referee nodded. For some reason he actually felt his body turn cold when Leng Ruoxue asked him this. There was even a bad premonition flowing through his heart. Ooh, what was going on? Leng Ruoxue and the others had really surprised them too much in the competition these few days, so he was under a lot of pressure. That's good. Leng Ruoxue was relieved. Hey, why didn't anyone attack? I'm going to attack if you don't attack first. Fengde looked at the disciples of the three great families who were looking at them cautiously, and shouted impatiently. Haha. Fengde, they're waiting for time. I think we should attack first. Leng Ruoxue said with some amusement. The competition had a total of 2 hours. Don't tell me these people thought that they could kick us out of the competition by attacking at the last moment? Miss, looks like that's the only way. Fengde and the others were very helpless. After speaking, they surrounded the 30 people on the other side of the stage. Leng Rume looked at Fengde and the others with contempt, thinking, do you think you will be so lucky today? You are dead meat today. However, her wishful thinking did not last long before Fengde and the others attacked. They each found an opponent and first punched and kicked very violently. Then their mystic energy kept smashing onto their opponents like it was free. In a few minutes, their opponents, who were unable to fight back, were covered in wounds and vomited blood on the stage. The injuries of the Sun family were especially serious among them, and Fengde and the others kicked them off the stage without any pity for the fairer sex. They had dealt with 18 people on their first move. There were only 2 people left from the elimination quota for today's competition, and they were not beaten to the other 12 people. Everyone, including Leng Rume, was a little jumpy and stared at Fengde and the others very cautiously. Fengde, there are still 2 spots. Leng Ruoxue looked at her opponents who were not too tough and said disdainfully, Leng Ruoxue, don't be too smug. You will definitely be taught a lesson. Leng Rume roared recklessly. She had a secret weapon. She didn't believe that she couldn't deal with Leng Ruoxue. Fengde, let's continue since Miss Leng Rume strongly requests it. Leng Ruoxue looked at Leng Rume and said calmly to Fengde, okay. Fengde and the others rushed toward the other 11 people after speaking, leaving Leng Rume to her young miss to deal with. The other 11 people were beaten down by Fengde, and the others with a few punches. However, they did not kick these dozen people off the stage, because they were waiting for Miss Action. Leng Rume, you're the only one standing on the stage now except for my subordinates. Haven't you always wanted to kill me? I'll give you a chance today, Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. Leng Ruoxue, don't be too smug too early. There are only 2 spots to be eliminated today, so it won't be my turn no matter what. Leng Rume said confidently. In fact, she was so angry in her heart, because she originally wanted to kill Leng Ruoxue secretly while the crowd was in a chaotic battle. Unfortunately, all her plans were destroyed by Leng Ruoxue, and she was the only one standing on her side now, so she was so angry that she was about to explode. Is that so? Then let's wait and see. Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. Then she gently released a stream of water attribute mystic energy, as if she was playing with it, shooting it at Leng Rume. Leng Rume looked at the mystic energy flying toward her with contempt, and thought to herself, do you want to deal with me with that little bit of mystic energy? You really overestimate your capabilities. She gently used the earthen yellow curtain wall to block the mystic energy. Miss Leng Rume is so powerful. Leng Ruoxue smiled evilly and said ingratiatingly. Then, like Chuizhu, she launched a meteor shower. Immediately, small light blue raindrops flew toward Leng Rume and quickly penetrated her curtain wall and attacked her body. In the blink of an eye, her clothes were wet by the rain, and her hot and sexy figure was revealed. Damn it, what skill is this? Leng Rume endured the needle-like pain on her body and questioned loudly. Meteor rain. Miss Leng Rume's figure is really good. Everyone can have a feast for the eyes. Leng Ruoxue smiled suggestively. Who wants to see her? The freak's voice sounded at the right time. That's right. Fengda and the others echoed cooperatively. Damn it. You. Leng Ruoxue, I won't let you go. Leng Rume endured the pain in her body and took out a saber from her ring. The cold light on the saber was terrifying. The audience couldn't help exclaiming when this saber was out. Wow, this saber is actually a sacred artifact. Yes. This saber seems to belong to an old ancestor of the Leng family. Why is it in Miss Leng Rume's hand now? Leng Ruoxue is going to be in trouble this time. Everyone in the audience discussed spiritedly. Some sighed, some were envious, and some were sympathetic to Leng Ruoxue. In short, everyone's reactions were different. Of course, some secretly despised Leng Rume in their hearts. After all, sacred artifacts were not as common as cabbages in this world. And powerhouses below mystic supremacy had to pay a huge price to possess a sacred artifact. In the VIP seats, Leng Yimin looked at the saber in Rume's hand and was shocked. Then he looked at Leng Xing and couldn't help asking, Old ancestor, that saber. I lent it to Rume, Leng Xing said calmly. Old ancestor, this is only a competition within the clan. I'm afraid it's inappropriate for you to lend the holy artifact to Miss Rume. The third elder of the Leng family couldn't help but scold. Alas, this Leng Xing was really too much. Wasn't it obvious that he wanted to get rid of Leng Ruoxue? Thinking of this, a chill rose in his heart. Not only is it inappropriate, but it's also completely unfair, the fifth elder of the Leng family said bluntly. Among the younger generation of the Leng family, even the young master had not been bestowed with a sacred artifact. Moreover, not only did the young master not have one, but these elders also did not have a sacred artifact in their hands. This was because the family's sacred artifact was stored in the armory. They were not allowed to use it unless something major happened. They were afraid that the Leng family would kill each other. However, they did not expect Leng Xing to actually use a sacred artifact to kill a junior for his own selfish reasons. Such behavior was really too embarrassing. Chapter 801. First encounter with the old ancestor, 2. There's no absolute fairness in competition. Rume borrowed my weapon because she's smart. If Leng Ruoxue is smart enough, she can also borrow it from the family. Leng Xing said disapprovingly, and his tone obviously gloating. However, when he saw the book-like sword that appeared in Leng Ruoxue's hand on the stage and emitted coldness, he couldn't be smug anymore because that sword should also be a sacred artifact. Moreover, its level was obviously higher than the saber he lent Rume. After all, sacred artifacts were also divided into levels. On the stage, Leng Ruoxue looked at the sword in her hand and revealed a smile that could topple cities. She had refined this sword ever since she came to the boundless heaven continent. However, it had always been stored in her body and had yet to be used. Moreover, she used the special refining technique taught to her by her master to refine this sword. It could be considered her intrinsic weapon. Moreover, it would advance along with her level. Well, she didn't know what level this sword could reach now. She was very expectant. Today, she would use Leng Rume to test the sword. Even though she felt that she had let down her sword a little, the sword seemed to have a mind of its own. After sensing its master's thoughts, it happily let out a buzzing sound. The humming sound carried a bloodthirsty ruthlessness, causing people with low cultivation levels to suffer varying degrees of internal injuries. Haha. I'll call you Cold Shadow from now on. Leng Ruoxue looked at the sword's reaction in surprise and said happily, Boo-hoo. The sword trembled gently as if it was very happy that it had a name. Leng Rume. Let's determine if your saber is stronger or my sword is sharper. Leng Ruoxue said calmly to Leng Rume, whose face was a little pale. Leng Ruoxue, you will definitely regret it. Leng Rume swallowed the blood that surged to her throat and said fiercely, Humph. She definitely wouldn't lose, and she couldn't lose. In this battle, she had to step on Leng Ruoxue under her feet. She was just a great mystic cultivator. What right did she have to strut around in front of her? Yes, I'm waiting to see how I'll regret it. Leng Ruoxue's beautiful face was full of anticipation. It was absolutely infuriating. Leng Ruoxue, you're courting death. Leng Rume roared and slashed at Leng Ruoxue with her saber. Leng Ruoxue turned her wrist unhurriedly, and the sword light in her hand flew towards Leng Rume from all directions. Leng Rume's sword light was completely shattered in the sword shadows, and countless sword lights directly hit her body. Leng Rume spat out a mouthful of blood and fell directly on the stage, fainting. Leng Ruoxue looked at Leng Rume lying on the stage with slight dissatisfaction and complained, her body is too weak. I haven't even used my mystic technique yet. Leng Ruoxue's words made everyone in the audience very speechless. However, they had to admit that these two people were indeed on a different level. Alas! A mighty mystic monarch was actually defeated by a great mystic. It was really embarrassing. The referee in the corner of the stage was very helpless. However, he also knew that today's competition would probably not be able to clean up the aftermath. He received the patriarch's gaze and was about to announce that today's competition was over. However, Fengde and the others kicked the fainted disciples of the three great families off the stage one step in advance. This scene couldn't help making the referee a little dumbfounded. However, what made him even more crazy was still behind, because Fengde and the others immediately announced their forfeiture of the competition after that and automatically jumped off the stage. The referee was stunned for a few minutes before he returned to his senses. Looking at the stunning man and woman standing proudly on the stage, he had to admit that they were really a pair of lookers. Even their Leng family's current young master had no choice but to admit defeat in front of these two's peerless elegance. Alas! It was really infuriating to compare oneself to others. They obviously only had the strength of a great mystic, but why were these people so awesome? He couldn't understand no matter how hard he thought. There are only the two of you in the entire competition now, so tomorrow. The referee braced himself and said his decision. However, he was interrupted by the freak before he could finish. I forfeit too, the freak said with a naughty smile. The referee was in a mess after hearing what the freak said. Looks like the competition can end. That's good, Leng Ruoxue said happily. Then she pulled the freak off the stage as if no one was around. After that, Leng Ruoxue and the others left the competition venue majestically with Fengde and the others escorting them. Everyone sat happily in the garden, drinking tea and chatting after returning to the snowfall garden. Schwer, why don't you just kill Leng Rume? That woman really wants to kill you, Leng Ruhan said worriedly. Leng Rume was still alive and would probably find a way to cause trouble for them. Big brother, for some people living is more painful than death. Leng Rume might not be dead, but she won't be able to achieve anything great, Leng Ruoxue said lightly. Her sword beams had long shattered the veins in Leng Rume's body. Therefore, from now on she was no different from a cripple. She might even be worse than a cripple. From today onwards, we have to be wary of Leng Xing, not Leng Rume, Leng Ruoxue reminded again. Alas! Leng Xing's plan had failed. Who knew what tricks he would come up with again? Well, she was in a good mood recently, so she would play with him. Miss, don't worry. We will be alert, Fengde and the others promised. Okay, everyone should rest early after dinner today. Leng Ruoxue looked at everyone and said. Everyone nodded, and then went to prepare dinner. After dinner, Leng Ruoxue and the freak welcomed an uninvited guest just as they returned to their room. To be precise, it was an uninvited stranger. Leng Ruoxue raised her beautiful eyes slightly, and sized up the handsome man who suddenly appeared in her room. This man looked to be in his early 30s, and his entire body was suffused with a chill. Even though his appearance was very handsome, the ice on his body could make people feel fear from the bottom of their hearts. Moreover, this man's strength was unfathomable. The man was sizing her up while she did the same. Well, this little girl was not bad. It was really rare for someone so young to be so calm and collected in front of a stranger. He had already observed Leng Ruoxue for many days, even though it was their first time meeting. Therefore, her calm reaction was within his expectations. Chapter 802. First Encounter with the Old Ancestor 3. For a while they just looked at each other. Neither of them spoke first. After a long time the man surrendered. That was because he gloomily discovered that this little girl's mental quality was above his. Why wasn't this little child curious about him at all? He couldn't understand. The man beside her was the same. The two of them acted as if he didn't exist. After looking at him for a while, they calmly drank their tea. They didn't even invite him for a drink. It was really too rude, he complained in his heart. Little child, why aren't you curious or even ask who I am? The man couldn't help asking. His handsome face was still full of bitterness, forming a sharp contrast with the coldness on his body. What's there to ask? You'll tell me if you want to, Leng Ruoxue said lightly. In fact, she had already guessed this man's identity. Well, this should be the person who wanted to see her. Moreover, this man's strength was absolutely above that grand elder. I'm Leng Xiaoyu. The Leng family of the Lingfeng continent is the bloodline I left behind. The man sighed and said helplessly, Alas! Qianyi was right. This girl was indeed difficult to deal with. Oh, so you're the rumored improper member of the Leng family. Leng Ruoxue said in realization. Little child, I'm your old ancestor. Leng Xiaoyu couldn't help but remind her. How could this girl not give him face? So what? I have only inherited a bit of your bloodline. Apart from that, what did you do for us? The Leng family of the Lingfeng continent has long declined. If it weren't for my grandfather, I'm afraid the Leng family would have no place in the Lingfeng continent. And after we returned to the family, what did these so-called Leng family members do to us? Someone wanted to kill us, to make my grandfather and me servants. They even colluded with the other two great families to kill us in the competition. If we didn't work hard, you so-called old ancestor would probably be seeing our corpses now. Leng Ruoxue's voice was filled with coldness, her beautiful eyes full of accusation. Little Shuang, others might not know your true strength, but I know very well that those people can't do anything to you at all. Moreover, do whatever you want to do. I'm not stopping you. Leng Xiaoyu said with slight grievance, even pretending to be pitiful. You said it yourself. Leng Ruoxue confirmed. Well, this old ancestor was quite sensible, hee. Maybe she could give him a chance to perform. Yes. However, don't kill too many. Otherwise, won't the other two super families benefit? Leng Xiaoyu reminded. No, it'll exterminate the Sun family at most. Leng Ruoxue understood what her old ancestor meant. If the Leng family lost too many people at once, the three super families would probably be in an imbalance. And if this change happened, the Leng family, which was originally the strongest, would probably be ranked last. Exterminate the Sun family? Little Shuang, what arrogance. I don't even dare to say that I can definitely destroy the Sun family. Leng Xiaoyu rolled his eyes and said speechlessly, Well, truly, youth knows no fear. Which one of those who could become a super family didn't have deep foundations and inheritances that were more than 10,000 years old? How could they be destroyed just like that? You've tried? Leng Ruoxue asked in surprise. No, but we fought a few times. At that time, the Sun family was still at its strongest. I fought a member of the Sun family to a draw, Leng Xiaoyu explained. How do you know that I can't destroy them if you haven't tried? Even if I can't destroy it now, it'll make the Sun family disappear in the entire universe no matter which world I'm in the future. Leng Ruoxue said with an imposing manner because she knew that the Sun family wouldn't let her go even if she didn't cause trouble for the Sun family. Moreover, the Sun family seemed to have a lecherous old ancestor, so she had to make preparations early. Good. Ambitious, The old ancestor supports you. Leng Xiaoyu said with satisfaction. Hee. This was his descendant. As a member of the Leng family, He had to be unyielding. Moreover, his love for Leng Ruoxue had risen to a new level in such a short time. After all, anyone would be wild with joy to have such a junior. Moreover, Leng Ruoxue indeed had limitless potential, which was one of the reasons why he valued Leng Ruoxue more. Cheap sake old ancestor, don't just say it. My next step is to get rid of the Leng family's stumbling block. Leng Ruoxue smiled evilly and reminded. Well, she didn't want the Leng family to hold her back when she was dealing with the Sun family. At least they were a little related, so she naturally couldn't uproot the Leng family like she did with the Sun family. Yes. Do whatever you want. I'm here. Leng Xiaoyu promised. That's good. Cheap sake old ancestor, it's getting late and we want to rest. Don't you think you can go now? Leng Ruoxue said very implicitly. After obtaining the permission of this cheap sake old ancestor, she started to chase him away. Little child, you can't be so realistic. You want to chase me away after achieving your goal? That won't do. My goal isn't over yet. Moreover, you're not allowed to call me cheap sake old ancestor. Leng Xiaoyu glared and pretended to be displeased. Then what else do you want? Leng Ruoxue said speechlessly. Well, as expected of their Lingfeng continent's old ancestor, he was indeed very similar to her. One would not visit unless they had something to ask. I want to see your sword, Leng Xiaoyu said shamelessly. In fact, this was the main reason why he came late at night. If it weren't for the sword that the little child took out today that tempted him, he would probably still be cowardly and not dare to show himself. Oh, Leng Ruoxue willed the cold shadow to appear in her hand. Can I hold it? Leng Xiaoyu asked expectantly. He knew that his request was a little inappropriate. After all, a weapon that had already recognized its master shouldn't be borrowed. However, he was really too curious because this sword had given him too much shock. He couldn't say why. In short, the moment he saw this sword, the artificer factor in his body boiled. Sure. Leng Ruoxue handed over the sword in her hand. Leng Xiaoyu looked at the sword in his hand and praised it. After looking at it carefully, he returned it to Leng Ruoxue with a face full of reluctance. Then he couldn't help asking, who refined this sword? Chapter 803. First encounter with the old ancestor 4. It's me. Leng Ruoxue didn't hide it. I didn't expect you to be a famous artifact master. Very good. Let's discuss the insights of refining artifacts if we have the chance. Leng Xiaoyu said in surprise. Hehe. This descendant really surprised him more and more. I rarely refine weapons and don't have much experience. Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. She refined more pills, and with the disheveled old man around she rarely refined weapons. Little Schwer, don't be modest. Your sword has clearly reached the quality of a heavenly artifact. Even though it can only be considered an elementary heavenly artifact, it seems like there's still quite a lot of room for growth. Moreover, do you know the greatest wish of an artificer? Leng Xiaoyu said with some jealousy. He was really jealous. This little child said that he rarely refined artifacts, but a growth-type equipment was honed from her hands. How could artificers endure this wish? Could it be to refine heavenly artifacts? Leng Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. Oh, she was an artificer who didn't take advantage of her position, so she wasn't too sure what wishes an artificer had. The greatest wish of an artificer is to be able to refine a growth-type equipment. However, the method to refine that kind of equipment has been lost. However, not everyone can refine it even if it isn't lost, Leng Xiaoyu explained. Oh. Leng Ruoxue nodded understandingly. Little Schwer, rest early. I'll go back first. With that, Leng Xiaoyu disappeared into thin air. After Leng Xiaoyu left, Leng Ruoxue brought the demon into the bracelet to rest. 2 days later, Leng Ruoxue and the others were basking in the sun and drinking tea as usual. For the past 2 days, the Leng family had been very quiet. No ignorant people came to disturb them. The injured members of the Lan and Sun families had already left. This calm before the storm was broken by the cold frost that came to the garden to look for Leng Ruoxue. Sister, the patriarch and elders want to see the 3 of you. Leng Shuang said bluntly when she saw Leng Ruoxue. Oh, Leng Ruoxue answered lightly. Then she looked at her grandfather and brother. The grandfather and granddaughter stood up together and prepared to head to the main residence. Sister, you have to be careful, Leng Shuang reminded worriedly. Then, she left the snowfall garden with Leng Ruoxue and the others. After the four of them arrived at the meeting hall in the main mansion, Leng Ruoxue and the others walked directly into the meeting hall. In the meeting hall, Leng Yimin sat in the main seat, and Leng Xing sat beside him. That seat usually belonged to the Grand Elder, but the Grand Elder was not in the meeting hall at the moment, and the other elders were sitting below Leng Yimin and Leng Xing. After Leng Ruoxue and the others entered the meeting hall, they saw the gazes of the patriarch and the elders focused on them. There were many emotions including helplessness, sympathy, pity, and especially the 10th elder, who was actually looking at her provocatively. Leng Ruoxue sized up the expressions of the elders with interest, then fixed her gaze on the 10th elder and said with a faint smile, "Looks like the 10th elder's injuries are almost healed. Well, transact a few more times." "Deal? What deal?" The 10th elder looked at Leng Ruoxue warily. "I want to beat you up a few more times. How about 1 amethyst coin each time?" Leng Ruoxue discussed. "Haha. Sister, I think 1 amethyst coin is a little expensive. The 10th elder isn't worth that much." Leng Shuang laughed impolitely and then said mockingly, "Oh, big sister is right. Why don't we beat him up twice with amethyst coins?" Leng Ruoxue thought for a while and said with difficulty, "Sister, 2 times is too little. I think we can beat him up 10 times. Leng Shuang suggested very seriously. "All right, I'll beat him up 10 times. Leng Ruoxue was very cooperative. The two of them echoed each other, almost infuriating the 10th elder. You guys are too much. How dare you humiliate me like this?" The 10th elder roared furiously, his voice full of energy. "Oh, I'm relieved to see the 10th elder so spirited. Otherwise, I'll feel guilty if I accidentally beat you to death." Leng Ruoxue said very kindly, "You." The 10th elder was so angry that he couldn't say anything. After a while, he knelt down in front of Leng Xing and pleaded, "Old Ancestor, Leng Ruoxue and Leng Shuang humiliated the management elder like this. You have to uphold justice for me." "Sigh, 10th elder, you're already such a big person. Why are you still complaining to your own family's old ancestor? This isn't something an adult should do." Leng Qingtian said speechlessly. "Well, Shuer only made a few jokes. Was there a need to? How embarrassing." He despised 10th elder's behavior greatly. "Old ancestor." The 10th elder looked at his old ancestor aggrievedly with tears in his eyes. "Leng Shuang, how can you humiliate a manager elder like this as the mistress of the Leng family? Is your performance worthy of being the mistress of the Leng family?" Leng Xing questioned angrily. "Ancestor Leng Xing, even if I'm not worthy, it won't be Leng Wangqia's turn. Therefore, you should save it." Leng Shuang said nonchalantly, not taking Leng Xing's threat seriously at all. "You," Leng Xing pointed at Leng Shuang, so angry that he couldn't say anything. Rebellious, really rebellious. These people actually learned to do things right with him. He was really angry. "Leng Yimin, is this the good wife you married? How dare you contradict your elders?" Leng Xing glared at Leng Yimin and roared angrily after a long time. However, Leng Yimin turned his head to the other side as if he didn't hear him, and looked down at his fingers. "Leng Xing, you're really promising. Your descendant complained to the elders while you complained to the juniors. Well, I really don't know if the people who gave birth to you will regret it." Leng Ruoxue teased with a light smile. "How dare you call your elders by their names? You really have no upbringing." Leng Xing roared with a black face. "Elder, whose elder are you? Don't try to get close to me," Leng Ruoxue said without giving him any face. "Leng Ruoxue, you are a member of my Leng family, but you actually don't acknowledge the elders of the Leng family. Could this be the Leng family's rule in the Lingfeng continent?" Leng Xing glared and questioned coldly. Chapter 804. Leng Xing, is this okay? 1. I told you I'm not from the Leng family. Well, don't mention the family rules first. Tell me, What benefits do we have to acknowledge the Leng family? Leng Ruoxua asked curiously. Benefits? The Leng family is one of the 3 major superfamilies. What else do you want? As a member of the Leng family, you should be proud and proud. At the same time, you should work hard for the strength of the family. Leng Xing explained excitedly. I have to work like a slave for the family without any benefits. This deal isn't worth it no matter how I think about it. Well, I can't match up to the Leng family, so I still say the same thing. Forget it. Leng Ruoxua pretended to think for a while, and then refused. Leng Ruoxua, as a member of the Leng family, you have to admit it no matter what. This isn't up to you. Leng Xing roared at the top of his lungs, the veins on his forehead bulging. Oh, in that case, I'll announce my decision to leave the family. Leng Ruoxua said with a smile. Leave the family? Dream on. Let me tell you, Leng Ruoxua, don't even think of leaving the family unless the family eliminates you. Leng Xing warned. What a joke. How could his plan be implemented if Leng Ruoxua left the family? Is that so, big sister? Leng Ruoxua ignored Leng Xing and turned her gaze directly to Leng Shuang and asked. Of course not. Leng Xing's ancestor hasn't appeared in the family for a long time, so he doesn't remember the family rules. Just listen casually, Leng Shuang said with a smile. Oh, I understand. His memory has deteriorated after living for too long. Leng Ruoxua said with sympathy on her beautiful face. You. Damn it, Leng Yimin. Tell them if I'm talking about the family rules? Leng Xing glared at Leng Yimin and threatened him. If Leng Yimin dared to say no, then he could forget about being the patriarch. Ouch. I'm sorry, old ancestor. My stomach hurts. I have to go to the latrine. Leng Yimin stood up and ran out of the meeting hall. Damn it. Leng Xing watched Leng Yimin run faster than a rabbit. He was so angry. However, he could only stare. Third elder. Tell Leng Ruoxua if what I said is the truth. Leng Xing turned his gaze to the third elder, who had his eyes closed and was calm, and asked. Unfortunately, third elder didn't even lift his eyelids, and even started snoring. Leng Xing was about to die of anger. These people actually all went against him. How preposterous. Seeing that he couldn't count on third elder, he turned his gaze to the fifth elder, whom he had never liked, and continued to ask, Fifth elder, tell me. Oh, Miss Leng, Ancestor Leng Xing is already so old, so we have to respect our elders. Well, whatever he says is fine even if it's not in the Leng family's rules. At most, we can add it. The fifth elder advised with a smile, and kept winking at Leng Ruoxua. Oh. You should indeed respect your elders, Leng Xing. Add the rules you set into the clan rules. Leng Ruoxua said with a face of understanding. You. Leng Xing was so angry that he couldn't breathe and fell straight onto the chair. Old ancestor. The 10th elder hurriedly went forward to save him when he saw this. However, other than the elders who were on good terms with him, the other elders actually didn't go forward to help. Leng Ruoxua pulled her grandfather and the others to find an empty seat to sit down. Big sister, Leng Xing won't die like this, right? Leng Ruoxua asked worriedly after sitting down. No, Xianzun won't die so easily, Leng Shuang said nonchalantly. Oh, that's good. Leng Ruoxua was relieved. If Leng Xing died like this, she would have nothing to play with. How regretful would that be? After a while, Leng Xing woke up. How can the Leng family have such unfilial descendants? Leng Xing pointed at Leng Ruoxua with trembling hands, his anger rising. Leng Xing, why are you looking for the 3 of us? I think you should tell us earlier. Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't have the chance to tell us later, Leng Ruoxua said with a venomous tongue. Yes. Tell us whatever last words you have. If we can do it, we definitely won't refuse. Leng Qingtian said with slight sympathy. Alas, this old man's mental endurance was really too poor. He had been outdated with just a few words. He still lacked exercise. You. 10th elder, tell them the Leng family's decision. Leng Xing ordered the 10th elder directly in anger. Yes. The 10th elder was very respectful. Listen carefully. The following is the family's decision. The 10th elder cleared his throat and said very seriously. The family has decided to marry Leng Ruoxue to the Sun family. They will betroth Miss Ru Mei to Leng Ruhan as their wife and Leng Wanqiu to the patriarch as their equal. What? I object. I won't agree to Leng Wanqiu entering the door. Leng Shuang stood up from her chair angrily and said loudly as soon as the 10th elder finished speaking. Damn it, Leng Yimin actually dared to hide such a big matter from her. It seemed like her punishment for that wretched thing was still too light. Mistress, this is the family's decision, the 10th elder warned. What he implied was that even if you were the mistress of the family, you couldn't object to something the family had already decided. Who decided it in the family? 10th elder, tell me who decided it in the family, Leng Shuang questioned aggressively, her beautiful face full of hostility. Big sister, calm down. Let's listen to the 10th elder's explanation. Leng Ruoxue smiled spuriously, her beautiful eyes flashing with a cold light, killing intent surging in her heart. She originally wanted to keep these people for a few more days to relieve her boredom. It seemed like they found their lives too long now. In that case, why was she still polite? This is of course the decision of the family and the Elder Association. The 10th elder said confidently as he looked at Leng Xing. The Elder Conference's decision? 10th elder, why don't I know when the Elder Conference made such a decision? Before Leng Shuang could say anything, the 5th elder questioned her first. 10th elder, could it be that the 5th elder has been expelled from the Elder Association? Leng Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. Chapter 805. Leng Xing, is this okay? 2. That's possible. Seems like the Elder Conference is now dominated by the 10th elder. The other elders are just decorations. Leng Shuang echoed with a light smile, feeling much calmer. Enough. Stop arguing. I decided this matter. Leng Xing said, unable to stand it anymore. Then he glared at the 10th elder, and couldn't help cursing in his heart. What an incompetent thing. He couldn't even do such a small thing. You, Ancestor Leng Xing, you might be the patriarch of the family, but it doesn't seem like you have the right to decide any decision of the Leng family on your own now. Leng Shuang said rudely. She might have given Leng Xing some face on account of his seniority, but there was naturally no need to since she had already exposed her face. How dare you? Is this your attitude towards your elders? Leng Xing said angrily. Ancestor Leng Xing, am the mistress of the Leng family. Since you don't respect me, I have no reason to respect you, Leng Shuang said nonchalantly. Leng Xing, since you admit that you made the decision, I want to know why you decided our marriage. We didn't admit that we were from the Leng family, Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. How dare you? Whether you admit it or not, you're still a member of the Leng family. This is a fact that no one can change. And the marriage of you siblings naturally has to be decided by the family, Leng Xing said matter-of-factly. Leng Xing, what I want to tell you is that the Leng family doesn't have to worry about our siblings' marriage. I already have a fiancé. As for Leng Rumei, she's not worthy of my brother at all, Leng Ruoxue said with some amusement. Well, she really didn't know what Leng Xing was thinking. Their plan to kill them had failed, and now they had to control their marriage? Unfortunately, in front of her, Leng Xing's plan was destined to fail. Leng Ruoxue, you siblings are both from the Leng family, so your marriage naturally has to listen to the Leng family's arrangements. As for your fiancé, our Leng family won't admit it. Leng Xing glared and said fiercely. It's none of my business whether the Leng family admits it or not. I'll admit it myself. As for my brother, don't even think about having any ideas about him. Leng Rumei isn't good enough for my brother. Leng Ruoxue said coldly, the coldness in her voice becoming stronger. As a member of the Leng family, this isn't up to you. Moreover, your grandfather hasn't even said anything. How can a junior like you have the right to speak? Leng Xing said very calmly. Our Shuer is the head of the family. What she decides is what we want. Leng Qingtian knew that he couldn't play dumb and watch the commotion when he saw Leng Xing drag the matter onto him. So he had to say reluctantly, You, as an elder, how can you let a hairy girl ride on your head? Leng Xing said with a resentful look. What does it have to do with you if I'm happy? Leng Qingtian swore rarely. After speaking, he felt that it was quite satisfying to occasionally curse. You. Leng Xing was so choked that he couldn't breathe again, and almost fainted again. However, he also knew that it wasn't the time to faint now. Otherwise, this grandfather, granddaughter, and Leng Shuang would definitely not be able to deal with that useless thing, the 10th elder. Leng Xing, are you willing to believe me now? You don't have to intervene in our siblings' marriage. Just take care of your descendants. Well, by the way, can Leng Rume stand up? Don't harm anyone even if you want to deal with her. Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. Leng Ruoxue, how dare you say that? You actually hit your own clansmen so heavily. If not for the fact that you still have some beauty, I would have long served your family law. Leng Xing said through gritted teeth. Can I say that she asked for it? If she didn't take out a lousy holy artifact to show off, I wouldn't have used a sword either. Moreover, I didn't inject mystic energy into my sword at all, so her injuries can only mean that her skills are inferior to others. Evil will be rewarded. Leng Ruoxue said without much sympathy. Leng Ruoxue, no matter how you argue, it's the truth that Rume was injured, so you have to marry into the Sun family on her behalf. And your brother has to marry her because you harmed her. Leng Xing said matter-of-factly. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Why should I marry into the Sun family for her? Why does my brother want to marry her? Are you dreaming? Or am I not clear enough? We are not from the Leng family. Everything in the Leng family has nothing to do with us. Leng Ruoxue said uncontrollably. Leng Ruoxue, this isn't up to you. You'll be married to the Sun family in a week. Guards, lock up their grandfather, granddaughter, and the others and watch them closely. Leng Xing looked at the 10th elder and instructed. Old Ancestor. What about Wuxia? The 10th elder didn't forget his daughter. In 3 days, Wuxia will marry Yimin as her equal. Leng Xing opened his mouth and decided everything. Leng Xing, have you forgotten what I said? I said that I won't allow Leng Wuxia to enter unless I die. Leng Shuang didn't even call him Ancestor anymore, and called him by his name. How dare you? 10th elder, take care of Leng Shuang, Leng Ruoxue, her grandfather, and granddaughter. No one is to let them out without my order. Leng Xing roared, so angry that his nostrils were smoking. Damn it, it was fine if Leng Ruoxue and her grandfather didn't listen to him. After all, they came from a small place, but Leng Shuang actually dared to disobey him. This was really unbearable for him. He had already decided to find a reason to deal with Leng Shuang after Wuxia married Yimin, so that she wouldn't always be an eyesore to him. Yes, old Ancestor. The 10th elder roared towards the door proudly. Guards! Arrest these 4 people for me. A few guards quickly ran in from outside the hall as the 10th elder's voice fell. However, the guards looked at each other, and no one attacked first. Damn it, didn't you hear my order? The 10th elder roared angrily when he saw that the guards didn't react. Reporting to the 10th elder, we don't dare to lock up the mistress of the household without the order of the patriarch and the elders, one of the guards said. In fact, he wanted to say that they couldn't afford to offend the others. They didn't want to become like Miss May, like a living dead. It was really too terrifying. Chapter 806. Leng Xing, is this okay? 3. You're really too useless, the 10th elder roared. Then he rushed to the side of Leng Ruoxue's grandfather, granddaughter, and wanted to attack himself. However, in the next second, the 10th elder fell straight to the ground. Old Ancestor, the 10th elder, he's dead. An elder who was on good terms with the 10th elder hurriedly ran to the 10th elder's side, and said in shock. As soon as that elder finished speaking, everyone in the hall immediately turned their gazes to Leng Ruoxue and the others, including 3rd elder, who had been pretending to sleep with his eyes closed. Damn it, what did you do to him? Leng Xing asked angrily. He had a feeling that Leng Ruoxue and the others must have done something. We didn't do anything. Leng Ruoxue's beautiful face was full of innocence. Then why did he die? Leng Xing asked through gritted teeth. I don't know. Did the 10th elder have a heart attack? Leng Ruoxue guessed. Nonsense. How can a cultivator have a heart attack? The fire in Leng Xing's heart surged, and his face was green and black, almost turning into a color palette. Big sister, looks like Leng Wanqiu and our brother-in-law's happy occasion won't happen. Alas, her father is already dead. As a daughter, she can't still think of getting married. Leng Ruoxue gloated. That's not necessarily true. That woman has been thinking about other people's husbands for more than 20 years. Now that the opportunity is finally here, how can she give up? I think the 10th elder will probably die without any regrets. Leng Shuang sighed softly and said very sympathetically, She was so happy seeing the 10th elder die. What if her old ancestor dies too? Could it be that she still wants to marry? Leng Ruoxue probed. Yes, no one can stop her even if they die. Leng Shuang said with a naughty smile. She was in a very good mood now, hee. Big sister, I don't believe Leng Wanqiu will be so cold-blooded. Leng Ruoxue's beautiful eyes rolled as she secretly glanced at Leng Xing's sister. What should we do? You can't crack someone to verify it. Leng Shuang was in a dilemma, her beautiful face full of worry. Leng Xing, is that okay? Leng Ruoxue turned around and asked with a smile. Can what? Damn it. What do you want to do? Leng Xing was only angry. At first, he didn't understand what Leng Ruoxue meant, but later he reacted. I want to use you to verify if Leng Wanqiu is really so cold-blooded. Leng Ruoxue smiled evilly. Well, she was a kind child and didn't like blood. However, sometimes she had to do it. Everyone present understood what Leng Ruoxue meant. She was planning to kill Leng Xing. How bold! She actually dared to kill the characters of the Leng family's old ancestor in the Leng family's territory. However, they had to admit that they admired Leng Ruoxue a little, but they also knew that it would probably be very difficult for Leng Ruoxue to walk out of the Leng family alive if she really killed Leng Xing. Hurry up and look for the Grand Elder. Something bad is going to happen. Third Elder whispered to the Fifth Elder. Well, he was afraid that Leng Ruoxue would suffer a loss. After all, Leng Xing was a mystic supremacy. I'm afraid it's too late. The Fifth Elder shook his head and sighed. He specially went to the Grand Elder's residence before coming, but he didn't find her. Nothing can happen to Leng Ruoxue, her grandfather and brother, Third Elder said anxiously. Probably no one could help them now except for the Grand Elder. We don't know where the Grand Elder is. There's no use panicking, the Fifth Elder said with a slight headache. Just as the two of them were secretly anxious, the furious Leng Xing had already stood opposite Leng Ruoxue and family, and said very coldly with half-closed eyes, What an ignorant junior. Do you think I don't dare to kill you with the support of the Grand Elder? Leng Xing's killing intent was also completely aroused at this moment. He originally thought that Leng Ruoxue and the others still had value, so he decided to let them benefit the Leng family better. However, who knew that a junior actually wanted to kill him? This was really unbearable for him. Leng Ruoxue's words had obviously angered him, so he had already aroused killing intent. I don't need anyone to back me up, Leng Ruoxue said calmly. Then, she signaled her grandfather and brother with her eyes. The two of them understood, and the three of them left the meeting hall. Junior, don't even think about escaping. Leng Xing hurriedly chased after him when he saw this. However, when he went out, he found that the grandfather, granddaughter, and the other two were floating in the air, looking at him sideways. Moreover, the freak and Fengde were protecting them. Calm down, we don't intend to escape, but the meeting hall is too small for us to use, so let's change to a bigger place, Leng Ruoxue comforted. Leng Xing's gaze searched the bodies of the demon and the others with uncertainty. He couldn't understand. Didn't he already send people to watch them? Why were they still here? I'm sorry, the subordinates you sent were easy to best. Well, they're all dead. The freak smiled evilly and explained. Not long after Schwer and the others left, a group of guards barged in and imprisoned their operation. However, Fengde and the others were itchy and accidentally dealt with the guards. Then they swaggered to the meeting hall. The Leng family members who met them along the way ran away like rats meeting a cat. How dare you kill the Leng family's guards? Leng Xing roared with a red face and neck. Are those people from the Leng family? Why do I seem to see the Sun family's emblem? Could it be that the Leng family surrendered to the Sun family? Feng De said with a face full of question marks. That's impossible. Third elder, who ran out of the meeting hall, hurriedly roared. Ooh. These words couldn't be said carelessly. Leng Xing should know better whether it's true or not. I heard that you're even planning to marry my woman to the Sun family? The freak narrowed his eyes, killing intent flashing in them. Humph. She's from the Leng family. Her marriage naturally has to be arranged by the Leng family. My Leng family won't admit you at all. Leng Xing said proudly. Even though he had already decided to get rid of Leng Ruoxua, this disobedient descendant. Is that so? If I remember correctly, Shuang doesn't seem to be from the Leng family. It doesn't matter even if she is. Can't I just kill everyone who doesn't acknowledge me? The freak said nonchalantly. Then he turned to Shuang and said, Shuang, leave this to me. Chapter 807. Leng Xing, is this okay? 4. Okay Leng Xing, bring your lackeys out for a walk. It'll save me some trouble. Leng Ruoxua said impatiently. Leng Ruoxua, you're courting death. I originally wanted to give you 3 a way out. Leng Xing roared at the void after speaking. Swish, swish, swish. Several figures appeared in the air, and stood side by side with Leng Xing as the roar fell. Leng Xing, is there a need for us to take action against a few juniors? A man in black said unhappily. You're mistaken. It's enough for me to deal with these juniors alone. I want you here to deal with the Grand Elder. Leng Xing said honestly. He had made many preparations for Leng Ruoxua and the others, and the current one was his most powerful trump card. Moreover, he absolutely had to plant it with one strike. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't have a chance next time. Where is the Grand Elder? The black-clothed man said with hatred. The Grand Elder will naturally arrive after I kill these juniors, Leng Xing said with abnormal confidence. He knew that his father couldn't stop the Grand Elder. However, as long as he could buy some time and let him kill Leng Ruoxua and the others, it would be enough. So you even want to kill the Grand Elder? Leng Ruoxua said in realization as if she had heard a joke. Humph. That old fart will only cause trouble for us. We've long wished for him to be dead. Leng Xing said fiercely. In fact, he had been bullied by the Grand Elder a lot. However, he couldn't beat the Grand Elder, so he could only stab him in the back. This time, he was also afraid that the Grand Elder would disturb his affairs. Therefore, he got his father to invite the Grand Elder to drink tea and chat. Originally, he only hoped to force Leng Ruoxua to agree to his request. However, he didn't expect that not only was she unwilling, she even wanted to kill him. He also had the intention to kill. Therefore, both sides were about to erupt at any moment. At this moment, he was most afraid that the Grand Elder would suddenly appear. Therefore, he had to kill Leng Ruoxua and the others before that old thing arrived. Well, of course, it would be perfect if he could get rid of the Grand Elder along the way. He had already thought of the excuse to kill the Grand Elder. Hee. Alas! Poor Grand Elder. He worked like a slave for the Leng family. In the end, he would actually died in the hands of the Leng family. Leng Ruoxua said with infinite sympathy. However, she was so happy in her heart. Kill. It was best if you killed the cheap sake old ancestor too. This way, the Leng family wouldn't have poor relatives like them. Humph. As a member of the Leng family, it's only right for him to work hard for the Leng family. It's also his honor to die for the Leng family, so the Grand Elder has nothing to complain about at all. Leng Xing said very self-righteously. Oh. In that case, you should be honored too. Leng Ruoxua said with a smile. Then she gave the freak and the others a look and released her beasts. However, considering that she didn't want to expose too much strength at once, only Feng Wu, Feng Miao, and Feng Zhan were released by her in the Phoenix clan and the Dragon clan. After the beasts came out, all the silver wolves returned to their original form according to the strategy they had discussed beforehand, and surrounded Leng Xing and the others. They looked at Leng Xing as if he was a dead man, contempt flashing in their eyes at the same time. Charm and the others still maintained their transmogrification, so that they could confuse the enemy and hide their strength. Leng Xing and the Leng family were dumbfounded as they looked at the beasts that suddenly appeared. Oh God! Why were there so many beasts suddenly? There were beasts in the sky and on the ground. Now they were all surrounded. Some carnivores even bared their teeth and glared at them, making their hearts thump. Third Elder, am I seeing things? Could these be the beasts of Leng Ruoxue and the others? The fifth elder in the crowd rubbed his eyes, his face full of disbelief. Heavens! Every beast here was a transcendent divine beast. This was the first time he had seen so many transcendent divine beasts gathered together. Yes, looks like we all underestimated Leng Ruoxue. Alas! With just these beasts, they don't need to rely on our Leng family, Third Elder said with emotion. Boo! These were all super divine beasts. Every single one of them was. It was really too enviable. Well, the few little red birds flying among the beasts were a little strange. They looked like miniature phoenixes. Third Elder and Fifth Elder whispered to each other, but Leng Xing asked bluntly, Leng Ruoxue, where did these beasts come from? Can't you tell? Of course they're my contract beasts. Leng Ruoxue smiled as if she was saying, the weather is so good today. No, this is impossible. How can you contract so many beasts? Leng Xing didn't believe Leng Ruoxue's words at all. Moreover, even if Leng Ruoxue told him that these beasts belonged to all of them, he wouldn't believe her because there were at least 1,000 silver wolves in front of him. Why not? You're really too ignorant. Moreover, to tell you the truth, I have a good character, so these beasts contract on their own accord. A gorgeous smile hung on Leng Ruoxue's beautiful face, but the words she said were infuriating. Damn, what did he mean by taking the initiative to contract? Why couldn't they meet a beast that came knocking on their door? It was really infuriating to compare oneself to others. The Leng family couldn't help but grumble in their hearts. Ever since the internal competition of the three major families, they had been a little afraid of Leng Ruoxue. However, now they knew that that was because she had been too low-key. And after seeing this situation, the elders who expressed their support for Leng Xing were a little shaken. However, since they had already made a choice, they had to be responsible for their own actions, because Leng Ruoxue would not give them another chance to plot against them. Therefore, their tragedy had been decided long after they chose Leng Xing. Leng Ruoxue, don't be too smug. These beasts might be transcendent divine beasts, but they are not level 9 after all. Are we afraid that we can't deal with them with so many mystic supremacies? Leng Xing pretended to be indifferent in his anger. Chapter 808. The Tortured Leng Xing 1. You want a level 9 beast? Leng Ruoxue looked at Leng Xing and asked lightly. I might be afraid if you brought out the same number of beasts if they are all level 9 transcendent divine beasts. But do you think I care if you bring out these low-level beasts? Leng Xing said stubbornly. Is that so? Leng Xing, didn't your father tell you that you will regret underestimating your enemy? Leng Ruoxue laughed mockingly. Hee, looking down on the combat strength of his beast will make him regret it for life. I'm telling the truth, Leng Xing said arrogantly. Cute master, and being looked down upon. Boo-hoo. Baby's eyes were filled with tears as it said pitifully. Then it glared at Leng Xing and said fiercely, Leng, I want to destroy you on behalf of master. Darling gave Dazzle, and the other little beasts a look immediately after it finished speaking. In an instant, a few small transmogrification beasts quickly rushed towards Leng Xing. Ah! Damn it, stay away from me. Leng Xing, who was entangled by a few little beasts, roared furiously in everyone's ears. However, the little beasts jumping left and right on his body were as slippery as a loach, and he couldn't catch them at all. Not only that, in less than a moment, his body was already covered in wounds, and his clothes had become tattered cloths that hung unsteadily on his body, threatening to go naked at any time. The Leng family looked at Leng Xing with sympathy, but no one had the intention to go forward to help. Well, it wasn't that they didn't want to, but they didn't dare. After all, they didn't want to be tortured badly by those little beasts like what they did to Leng Xing. Who asked you to look down on us? Who asked you to look down on us? Darling and the other beasts muttered while scratching. Leng Ruoxue couldn't help but have a black line across her forehead when she saw the indignant expressions of her children. Oh, her beasts really wanted to capture and scratch to the end. However, It had been a long time since she saw her children do this, and she actually felt a little intimate. Her beasts were really too cute. Swear, they snatched my opponent. I can't wait any longer. Otherwise this thing will die soon. The freak said anxiously. Well, although the strength of the treasures was not high, he was very clear about the abilities of these little beasts. A mystic supremacy could be tortured to death by them if they were united. Therefore, he had to attack. Thinking of this, the freak transformed into a stream of light and rushed into the circle of the beasts. His target was Xing. Xing was badly battered by the few little beasts, so he was not prepared at all. His face was punched by the freak, and blood flowed down his face in the blink of an eye. Damn, who ambushed me? Xing did not see the person in front of him clearly because his eyes were blurred by blood, but he immediately roared. Your ancestor, me. You unfilial grandson. Hurry up and kowtow to your ancestor. After the freak finished speaking, he kicked Xing's butt and Xing knelt straight on the ground. Ah, I won't let you go. Xing, who was kicked to the ground, was extremely depressed. He was about to stand up, but he realized that he couldn't move his body. Damn it, what was going on? Well, seeing that you're so obedient, I'll let you die a better death. The freak was also very kind. With that, he directly waved his fist and hit Xing's abdomen, making Xing cry out in pain. In order to show his kindness and strength, he decided not to let Xing die too quickly. Well, he didn't want the Leng family to have another Xing humph. He was really tired of living for daring to let his woman marry someone else. Xing could only move his mouth. He had no power to retaliate under the freak's heavy fist. The blood on his body had already stained the tattered cloth on his body. Unfortunately, it's not dragon blood. Leng Ruoxia couldn't help sighing as she looked at the blood flowing out of Xing. At the same time, her beautiful eyes were observing the actions of the other Leng family members. Damn it, why aren't you attacking? Xing, who was about to faint from the pain, used all his strength and roared. The black-clothed man not far away hesitated when he heard Xing's words, but he still waved his hand like a companion, indicating for them to help. After all, it would not be beneficial to him if Xing was beaten to death. However, he was a little afraid of the existence of these beasts. Even though he also had beasts, they were really not enough in front of so many beasts. Unfortunately, they were in the same boat as Xing now, so it was probably impossible for him to stay outside the world. After sensing the abnormality of Xing's lackeys, Leng Ruoxia also gave Fengde and the others a look. Fengde and the others understood. However, the opponents in front of them were obviously not enough, so in order to obtain the qualifications to fight, they actually started guessing punches. This scene made the Leng family present want to curse. Cheng Wu and the others, who had won the guessing game, each found an opponent and rushed to the center of the battlefield excitedly. The others looked at them enviously. You guys actually didn't leave one for me? Leng Ruoxia said speechlessly. Boo-hoo. Why did these people forget about her existence as a young miss the moment they heard about fighting? She also wanted to practice. Miss, there are still some elders over there. Can we beat them up? Lu Tao said with eyes full of desire. Yes, sure. Hee. I forgot about them. Leng Ruoxia smiled evilly and then came to an elder. What do you want? The elder's heart kept trembling when he saw Leng Ruoxia. His body was trembling like a fallen leaf in the wind. The people who wanted to spar with you were all occupied by my subordinates, so I had to aggressively look for you elders, Leng Ruoxia said helplessly. Alas! These elders' strength was obviously inferior to the people who appeared later. However, they could be used. Don't wrong yourself. Go find someone else to spar with. That elder had a long face, his heart full of regret. Boo! This was the retribution for him taking the wrong side. How did it come so quickly? However, he felt that this couldn't be blamed on him. After all, no one knew that Leng Ruoxia actually had so many beasts. Furthermore, every one of them was a transcendent divine beast. This was a considerable force in the vast heaven continent. If they had known earlier, they would definitely treat Leng Ruoxia differently. Chapter 809. The Tortured Leng. Xing 2. I like you. How many elders are you? Leng Ruoxue was very loyal and wouldn't change people easily. Boo. I'm number 19. My strength is too low. The 19th elder had tears in his eyes and looked extremely aggrieved. You're also a mystic supremacy, what's there to be humble about? After Leng Ruoxue finished speaking, she grabbed his collar like she was picking up a chicken, and dragged him into the battle circle slightly roughly. Then, a fiery red mystic energy directly attacked the 19th elder's face. Ah! The 19th elder jumped up in shock and dodged the mystic energy attack. However, he still had lingering fears and was afraid before the battle. 19th elder, I'll let you go if you can beat me. Leng Ruoxue looked at the 19th elder's hiding appearance and said resentfully, Really? Then none of us are allowed to use beasts. The 19th elder was overjoyed, but he didn't show it on his face. Moreover, he took the opportunity to propose his conditions. What a joke. No one would be able to withstand it if those beasts attacked together. No problem, but if you lose you can only die. Leng Ruoxue continued. I'll definitely win, the 19th elder suddenly said with an imposing manner. Boo. If he couldn't even beat a great mystic, then he wouldn't have to survive in the vast heaven continent. However, after the real fight, the 19th elder realized how terrifying Leng Ruoxue was. It was too late for him to regret it. However, he couldn't help cursing in his heart. Damn it. This was too much of a bully. He was obviously not a great mystic, but he actually used the excuse of a great mystic to deceive them, causing them to miscalculate the strength of Leng Ruoxue and the others. This was really too despicable. He couldn't help crying and regretting until his intestines turned green. 19th elder, you're not paying attention. Leng Ruoxue looked at the 19th elder's thoughtful expression and calmly accused him. However, the light blue mystic energy in her hand kept attacking the 19th elder. Leng Ruoxue, what exactly is your strength? The 19th elder said angrily. He knew that Leng Ruoxue's strength was definitely not that of a great mystic, but because Leng Ruoxue had never really used a mystic technique and only kept teasing him with terrifying mystic energy, he really couldn't tell Leng Ruoxue's level for a moment. Just a mystic sovereign. Leng Ruoxue smiled indifferently. The mystic sovereign is just returning it. The 19th elder almost fainted before he could catch his breath. However, he quickly composed himself. After that, he looked at Leng Ruoxue with a strange expression and sighed with emotion in his heart. Alas! Unfortunately, such an extraordinary person couldn't be used by the clan, and he couldn't be killed. I presume some old antiques in the clan will definitely have a headache if they know. Haha. 19th elder, I was just teasing you just now, but now I'm going to really attack. After Leng Ruoxue finished speaking, the majestic water attribute profound energy quickly gathered in her hand. Shortly after, tens of thousands of raindrops surged towards 19th elder from all directions. Leng Ruoxue also named this mystic technique meteor rain. However, this was naturally a modified meteor shower after her modification. Moreover, the meteor shower she used on the 19th elder was absolutely much stronger than the one she used on Leng Rume. The unlucky 19th elder kept dodging left and right after seeing the raindrops. However, many raindrops still hit him and passed through his body. In an instant, the 19th elder fell to the ground dead. Leng Ruoxue released another small flame and threw it at the 19th elder to destroy the evidence. Not far away, the Leng family members who were not affected by the battle couldn't help but tremble when they saw Leng Ruoxue's skilled technique. Bean-sized sweat dripped down their foreheads nonstop. Boo! This woman was really too terrifying. How could her movements be so natural and smooth? The elders who had been dragged into the battle by Lu Tao and the others saw the condition of the 19th elder from the corner of their eyes, and their hearts trembled. Boo! They were so afraid that the 19th elder's outcome would be theirs because they were closer to Leng Xing and the others. After Leng Ruoxue dealt with her opponents, she raised her beautiful eyes to size up every move on the battlefield. At this moment, her grandfather, brother, and the others were excitedly fighting with their opponents. Her own beasts would launch sneak attacks from time to time, and all sorts of mystic energy danced dazzlingly like ribbons in the entire Leng family's main residence and in the air. Freak, don't kill him. Leng Ruoxue said hurriedly when she saw the dying Leng Xing. Why? The freak looked up at Shuang with a face full of question marks. Oh, could it be that Shuang's heart softened? I haven't beaten him up yet. How can he die? Leng Ruoxue said with a naughty smile. Baby and the other beastmen jumped into her arms and nodded their heads in agreement. But he only has one breath left, the freak said in frustration. Ooh. It was all his fault for being too heavy-handed. It's okay. I have pills. As long as he's still breathing, he won't die, Leng Ruoxue promised. Then she took out a jade bottle from her bracelet and poured out a pure white pill from it, handing it to the demon. Swear, isn't it a waste to give him this medicine? The freak was a little reluctant. This medicine improves quickly. Well, it's okay, as long as we beat him up to our heart's content, Leng Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Okay. The freak pried Leng Xing's mouth open and threw the pill in. Sure enough, the injuries on Leng Xing's body healed in the blink of an eye. Swear, beat him up slowly, the freak said, and then released the restraints on Leng Xing. Leng Xing, who was in a daze, felt that the injuries on his body had all healed and his body could move again. He got up from the ground with a whoosh and was about to flare up when he was hit by a fire attribute mystic energy. Immediately, a charred smell came from his body. Damn it, Leng Ruoxue. What kind of ability is your sneak attack? Leng Xing looked at Leng Ruoxue, whose face was full of provocation. And he was so angry. The scene of being beaten up by that barbaric man was still vivid in his mind, making him unable to forget it even if he wanted to. Now he absolutely hated these two people to the bone. Chapter 8:10. The Tortured Leng Xing 3. You're capable of bullying the weak? Leng Ruoxue didn't want to argue with him. She only wanted to teach him a good lesson. So after attracting Leng Xing's attention, the mystic techniques in her hand didn't stop. Red, light blue, and cyan mystic techniques were used alternately, attacking Leng Xing nonstop. Damn it, you pervert. Leng Xing was very depressed. He could only defend nonstop, and had no chance to retaliate at all. Moreover, the few beasts that were eyeing him covetously would ambush him for no reason. Therefore, not only did he have to defend against Leng Ruoxue's attack, but he also had to divert his attention to stare at the few annoying little beasts. Leng Xing, today I'll let you taste the power of my meteor sword technique. Leng Ruoxue thought for a moment, and a sword with a cold light appeared in her hand. Leng Xing recognized this sword, but with his experience he only treated it as a holy artifact. However, the power of this holy artifact was not small, and he had a deep understanding of it. Therefore, he immediately raised his guard. Leng Ruoxue raised Haning high above her head and gently rotated her wrist. Tens of thousands of sword beams shone on everyone's bodies, causing a chill to rise in the bottom of their hearts. Immediately after, she officially activated her sword technique and injected water attribute mystic energy into it. The meteor sword cooperated with the meteor shower and attacked Leng Xing from all directions. Leng Xing immediately strengthened his defense seeing this. However, he still underestimated the sharpness of the sword beam. With a crisp bang, the sword beam tore through his defense shield and hit him directly. Tens of thousands of raindrops passed through his body, and he directly vomited a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. However, his face was filled with disbelief. No, this is impossible. Leng Xing, who was bleeding nonstop and only had a breath left, was unwilling to believe this fact. He was a mystic supremacy. How could he lose to a little girl? He had never even attacked except for his defense. Ooh, how was this possible? This was too big a blow to him. However, the bigger blow was still coming. Miss, is he dead? Fengde, who had already dealt with his opponent, ran to Leng Ruoxue's side and asked worriedly, "He's still breathing." Leng Ruoxue looked at Leng Xing and said lightly. She deliberately controlled her strength, so Leng Xing was still alive. "Miss, give me a pill. I want to cure him," Fengde said expectantly. "Okay." Leng Ruoxue didn't hesitate, and took out the bottle containing the pills and handed it to Fengde. Hee. Fengde laughed evilly. Then he also threw a pill into Leng Xing's mouth in the same way. Leng Xing's injuries healed as good as new in a moment. However, the blow Leng Xing received previously was obviously a little big, so he didn't react for a while. By the time he came back to his senses, Feng Da's mystic technique had already hit him. Leng Xing was furious seeing this. Damn, why did he become a soft persimmon? Everyone actually wanted to step on him. However, he was stunned by Feng Da before he could show his might. Immediately after, Leng Ruhan and the others mimicked Leng Ruoxue and Feng Da and fed him a pill before Leng Xing stopped breathing. Then they used him to practice. In the beginning, Leng Xing was still very strong, but gradually he became numb. He didn't know how to fight back and just kept shouting, "Hurry up and kill me." The double blow to his heart and body caused Leng Xing to collapse completely. The Leng family members who were still alive were terrified when they saw Leng Xing's miserable state. At this moment, their fear for Leng Ruoxue and the others had already seeped into their bones. Moreover, some of the timid ones couldn't stand on their weak legs. Ooh, these people were really too ruthless. How could they torture others like this? Poor Leng Xing. Their sympathy for him was like the endless river water. However, at this moment no one dared to speak for Leng Xing because Leng Xing's helpers were all dead. "Mistress, this can't go on." The third elder walked to Leng Shuang's side, who was also dumbfounded, and said softly, "Boo." Even though he didn't like Leng Xing, he felt some sympathy for Leng Xing at this moment. He also hoped that Mistress could say something to let Leng Ruoxue and the others give Leng Xing a quick death. After all, everyone except Leng Xing who was in the same pants as him was dead. "Third elder, I can't do anything about this," Leng Shuang said helplessly. "Boo." She didn't know where her father-in-law was hiding. She should disappear too. With that, she slipped away in front of third elder. Well, she had other things to do. "Third elder, we can't meddle in this matter. Let's go too. Otherwise, someone might make things difficult for us," the fifth elder said understandingly. Alas! Who asked them to watch with folded arms? However, this matter was really not something they could meddle in. They wanted to, but they were powerless. All right. Third elder was helpless and had to secretly leave the crowd with the fifth elder. The other members of the Leng family, who had good taste, slipped away when they saw this. "Leng Xing, poor fellow, your clansmen have abandoned you." Leng Ruoxue saw from the corner of her eye that most of the Leng family members who were not affected had left, so she looked at Leng Xing, who was pretending to be dead on the ground, with some sympathy. "Miss, his minions are all dead. It's not good for us to keep him for too long. Why don't we send him on his way now? Otherwise he won't be able to catch up to his companions," Cheng Wu suggested very kindly. "Okay, do it." Leng Ruoxue nodded. "Okay." Cheng Wu was interrupted by a roar just as he raised his hand. "Who dares to kill my son? Hand over your life." Before the person could say anything, a fiery red mystic energy directly pounced at Cheng Wu. Cheng Wu narrowed his eyes. When the fiery red streak was about to reach him, he waved his hand gently and cancelled that attack. Then he used another wind blade and directly killed Leng Xing. "Ah, I want to kill you." Seeing his son die in front of him, a middle-aged man attacked Cheng Wu crazily, and Cheng Wu calmly fought with him. "Leng Yan, your line likes to bully the young." Suddenly, a slightly mocking voice sounded in everyone's ears. Immediately after, a fiery red figure appeared in front of everyone. Leng Qianye's handsome face had a beautiful smile, and he kept blinking at Leng Ruoxue and the others. Chapter 811. The Ruthless Leng Shuang, 1. "Damn it, you still have the face to say that my son would have died if you didn't pester me?" Leng Yan roared back angrily. He wanted to chop Leng Qianye into pieces at the thought of this. "Leng Yan, how can you wrong me? You were the one who wanted to drag me to drink tea and chat. I wanted to come back, but you refused to let him go. Now you're blaming me. Boo. Your family is really too good at distorting the truth." Leng Qianye's handsome face was full of grievance, and tears kept flashing in his eyes. "You still have the face to say that you clearly know that something has happened to the family, but you actually pestered me and didn't let go." Leng Yan roared while being wary of Cheng Wu. "I'm innocent. That place is full of your people. How would I know that something happened to the family?" Leng Qinya played dumb until the end, the expression on his face as aggrieved as it could be. Okay, even if you don't know, why are you stopping me now? Leng Yan thought that Leng Qinya was here to stop him, so the anger in his heart surged. I didn't stop you. I just felt that it was a little embarrassing for you to bully the younger generation, Leng Qinya said with a smile. In fact, he was mainly thinking whether Leng Yan's father would be angered to death if he came. This family was very protective people, and looking at this, Leng Yan's life would probably be lost here. Alas! How pitiful. Humph. They killed my son. I don't care if they're juniors. In short, they're dead meat. Leng Yan roared, his heart full of hatred. He only had this one son. Old fart, you have to have the ability to kill us. Fengda, who was watching the commotion by the side, said nonchalantly. Well, many people from the Leng family wanted to kill them, but they all died in their hands in the end. All of you deserve to die. Leng Yan was very angry, but he was entangled by Chengwu to the point that he couldn't do anything at all. At this moment, the two of them had already fought for more than 100 rounds, and the outcome of the battle couldn't be determined at all. So he became more and more uneasy in his heart. One had to know that he had advanced to mystic supremacy for many years, and no ordinary mystic supremacy could compare to him in terms of experience and profound strength. However, he actually couldn't even take down a junior. How could he survive in the Leng family in the future if news of this got out? You deserve to die even more, Chengwu said unhurriedly. Then he threw a pill to recover his mystic energy into his mouth. Did this old thing think that he had a lot of mystic energy? It wouldn't tire him to death. Damn it, how can you eat pills? Leng Yan was furious. Wasn't this cheating? It was really too despicable. We're fighting a life and death battle. Either or us will die. Could it be that you want to allow me to eat medicinal pills? You can also eat some if you want, Chengwu said with some amusement and suggested very kindly. You. Leng Yan's face turned red, and the anger in his heart rose another level. He couldn't help cursing. Damn, he was really too much of a bully. If he had it, would he not eat it? There were a few alchemists supported by the Leng family, but the medicinal herbs refined pills that recovered mystic energy were very expensive. Therefore, it was impossible for a super family like theirs to refine too many, much less eat them like him in battle. This was really too wasteful. Big brother Chung, let me play. Song Di, who was watching the commotion by the side, said with itching hands. Well, this old thing seemed to be quite strong. Okay, Chengwu replied. Then he gave the battlefield to Song Di and retreated to the side to watch the battle. Leng Yan was furious when he left. Damn, was this a tag team battle? Haha. Old thing, you have to take care of yourself. We still have a lot of people. Song Di reminded with a naughty smile. Damn it, cut the crap. Leng Yan was angry. The consequences were very serious. You'll suffer a loss in front of you if you don't listen to me. Song Di was very aggrieved. He had only kindly reminded him. How did he anger this old thing? Boo. Song Di fought Leng Yan for nearly 100 rounds on the field, before changing again. Moreover, Leng Ruoxia's side was very self-aware. Each person went forward and fought for more than 100 rounds before giving up their position. Well, in this way, they even saved using so many medicinal pills. Poor Leng Yan was already panting from exhaustion. Swear you're ruthless. Leng Qinya, who had been watching the commotion, came to Leng Ruoxia's side and gloated. Alas, there are too many subordinates, and there are usually no good opponents, so I can only wrong this certain person from the Leng family. Leng Ruoxia said very innocently. Swear, if each of you were to fight another round, he would probably be exhausted to death. Leng Qinya reminded. Well, he had lived for so long, but this was the first time he had seen a mystic supremacy die of exhaustion in battle. Swear had broadened his horizons. Another round? I'm afraid he won't be able to last that long. However, what I want to say is that your Leng family is too lousy. A mighty mystic supremacy actually didn't even prepare medicinal pills to recover mystic energy. Leng Ruoxia accused. Little Shuang, the materials for pills to recover mystic energy are very precious. There are so many people in the Leng family, how can we afford them? Leng Qinya said aggrievedly with a bitter face. Ooh. It was not good to have too many people in a family. There were not enough resources. The Leng family has been passed down for tens of thousands of years. Do you think him a 3-year-old child? Leng Ruoxue obviously didn't believe him. Swear, little girl. Leng Qianye still wanted to explain, but he realized that Cheng Wu, who had gone on stage again, had already dealt with Leng Yan. Not only that, but he was instantly destroyed by a little red bird. He should still pretend not to see it. However, Leng Feng, that old thing, would probably come soon after Leng Yan died. Master, the battlefield has been cleaned up. I guarantee that there won't be any traces left behind. We can leave now. Feng Zhan jumped onto Leng Ruoxue's shoulder and said ingratiatingly, "And good girl." Leng Ruoxue patted Feng Zhan's little head and praised, "Oh, swear, does this little bird often do such things?" Leng Qianye's forehead dripped with several black lines as he said in surprise, "Isn't that normal?" Leng Ruoxue said nonchalantly, Leng Qianye didn't know what to say. These people were really ruthless. They didn't even leave their corpses behind. It seemed that he was still very kind compared to them. Chapter 8:12. The Ruthless Leng Shuang too. Damn it. Who killed my son and grandson? Suddenly, a roar entered the ears of everyone that was about to leave. After hearing this voice, Leng Ruoxue couldn't help asking Leng Qianye with her eyes, was there anyone else above them? Leng Qianye shook his head, indicating that there was nothing else. An old man had already appeared in front of them just as they were exchanging glances. You killed my son and grandson? Leng Feng's slightly turbid eyes shot out a light of hatred. However, his pupils kept contracting when he saw Leng Qianye not far away. Who are your son and grandson? We don't have outsiders here. Leng Ruoxue's face was not red as she lied without batting an eyelid. That's right. Old man, if you want to find a son and grandson, don't malign others. Feng Da and the others hurriedly echoed. Leng Feng was so angry that he was about to explode. He composed himself and then questioned, is the little girl Leng Ruoxue? He knew his grandson's plan. Now that his grandson and son were dead, the little girl in front of him was alive and well. Therefore, he believed Leng Ruoxue was the murderer without thinking. I am. Leng Ruoxue didn't deny it. Lass, hand over your life. Leng Feng attacked Leng Ruoxue without a word. However, how could Leng Qianye let him do as he wished? Leng Qianye raised his hand gently, and Leng Feng's attack was resolved. Leng Qianye, could it be that you want to shield her? Leng Feng roared furiously, his fire-breathing eyes glaring at Leng Qianye tightly. He was still afraid of Leng Qianye. However, he had worked in the Leng family for many years and finally had the power today. However, it was destroyed by a little girl now. How could he bear this? Leng Feng, do you know why all the elders of your line died? It's because you're too narrow-minded and can't tolerate others, so I advise you to do your best. Leng Qianye didn't answer the question because he knew that this old thing wouldn't listen to advice. However, he had to pretend. After all, if he even killed the other three, he was afraid that someone from his eldest grandfather's line would take the opportunity to make things difficult for him. Humph. My children and grandchildren are all dead. What's the use of telling me this now? In short, I must kill Leng Ruoxue and the others and use them to mourn the souls of my children and grandchildren in heaven. Leng Feng said with hatred. Old man, you have to have the ability to kill us even if you want to. Otherwise, you will probably be like your son and grandson. Leng Ruoxue deliberately provoked. Well, since this old man knew her name, then he should have participated in Leng Xing's plan. So it was probably useless for her to pretend. What a sharp-tongued little girl. Don't think that you can live today with Leng Qianye protecting you. You're dead meat. He went all out for the sake of avenging his son and granddaughter. I don't need him to protect me. Instead, it's you. Why don't I give you some time? Go get some helpers. Leng Ruoxue reminded kindly. Alas. Leng Qianye was half happy and half worried when he heard Leng Ruoxue's words. He was happy to have such a powerful descendant, but he was worried that he didn't have a chance to perform. Boo. Why couldn't his descendant be like other people's children? Why did he have to find the ancestors to support him? This little girl really didn't give him a sense of accomplishment. Thinking of this, he felt extremely depressed. Humph. Lass, be stubborn. After Leng Feng finished speaking, he consecutively released a few streaks of mystic energy. 2 of them attacked Leng Qianye, and the rest went straight for Leng Ruoxue. Leng Ruoxue looked at Leng Feng with slight mockery. Then, she gently rotated her wrist. Han Ying's sword light easily shattered Leng Feng's mystic energy, and then the sharp sword light flew in Leng Feng's direction. Leng Feng looked at the threatening cold sword beam, and was extremely frightened in his heart. How was this possible? This was a mystic supremacy's mystic energy. How could it be shattered so easily? This sword. Leng Feng had the intention to snatch the sword in Leng Ruoxue's hand. This sword was so sharp, it was a pity to give it to a girl. As the saying goes, a treasured sword deserves a hero. So he felt that only he was worthy of having such a sword. However, Leng Ruoxue still didn't know that someone had designs on her sword. Otherwise, she would have cut him into pieces long ago, and she wouldn't have the intention to tease him. At this moment, Cheng Wu and the others had already surrounded Leng Feng, and were staring at him like he was their prey. Leng Feng, your grandfather and granddaughter are really getting worse and worse. They even want to kill me. Leng Qianye easily neutralized Leng Feng's attack, and said with a light smile, "Well, now if eldest granduncle had any ideas, he would have a reason." It was great. He couldn't wait for Leng Feng to attack him directly. "Do you think I don't know that you're on the same side? Leng Ruoxue killed my son and grandson because you're backing her up. How would she dare to otherwise?" Leng Feng roared angrily. "Old man, I find that your grandfather and granddaughter are quite self-righteous. If Leng Xing wants to plot against me, can I still let him plot against me? Since he dares to plot against me, how can he not pay a price? Moreover, I'll say it one last time. I don't need the Grand Elder to support me." Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. Alas! Why couldn't the Leng family understand human language? How annoying! Lass, in that case, it's only right for me to kill you to avenge my children and grandchildren. Leng Feng said with a cold smile. Of course, but the premise is that you have to kill me. Leng Ruoxue said nonchalantly, not taking Leng Feng's threat seriously at all. Last, take this. Leng Feng launched another attack after hearing Leng Ruoxue's words. Okay, be careful. Leng Ruoxue reminded. At this moment, Han Ying's sword light had already approached Leng Feng and cut open Leng Feng's defense with unstoppable force, hitting him directly. Immediately after, Leng Feng spat out a mouthful of blood. Leng Ruoxue was very satisfied when she saw that Leng Feng didn't collapse like Leng Xing, and only spat out a mouthful of blood. Well, as expected of a grandfather, he was just better at enduring beatings than a grandson. Seeing this, she directly injected water attribute mystic energy into her sword, and then tens of thousands of sword beams scattered out with the meteor shower. Chapter 8:13. The Ruthless Leng Shuang 3 Swish. 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 The raindrops that carried sword lights easily penetrated Leng Feng's body. This time, Leng Feng was unable to endure it, and the profound technique that was accumulating strength in his hand was unable to be released in the end, causing him to fall to the ground and die. Feng Zhan spat out a flame after Leng Feng fell. Swear, your subordinates and beasts are all trained well. Leng Qianye said speechlessly. This little bird was a little too fast. It's okay. Grand Elder, will anyone else come later? Leng Ruoxue asked uncertainly. Now that her grandfather had come out, who knew what would happen next time? Not for now. The ones closest to Leng Xing's bloodline have been killed by you. However, this matter is not small. I'm afraid someone will use it as an excuse to make a fuss, Leng Qianye said honestly. Oh. In that case, please clean up the door. Leng Ruoxue said with a naughty smile. There were too many disputes in big families, so she was not interested in their internal conflict. Swear, this matter started because of you. Aren't you going to bother with it? Leng Qianye pouted, and said deliberately with some displeasure. Well, if I manage it to the end, I'm afraid there won't be many Leng family members left alive. Leng Ruoxue said honestly. Her principle was not to leave trouble for herself, so the Leng family members who were related to Leng Xing's grandfather and granddaughter probably wouldn't be able to escape this disaster. Therefore, she handed the subsequent matters to the Grand Elder to handle. As long as those people went up to her and no longer provoked her, she would still give the Leng family face and not kill them all. Alas! Swear, leave the rest to me. Leng Qianya sighed and said helplessly, "Thank you, Grand Elder. I want to see Leng Rume and her daughter now." Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. Then she led everyone straight to Leng Rumai's residence. However, when she reached the door, she found Leng Shuang and Leng Yimin in Leng Rumai's room. However, eavesdropping was not a good habit, so she pushed the door open and entered. In Leng Rumai's room. "Sister, are you done with the matters over there?" Leng Shuang asked with a happy smile after seeing Leng Ruoxue. She was in a good mood today. "Okay." Leng Ruoxue nodded. Then, she pulled the freak to find a random place to sit down. The others didn't stand on ceremony and found a place to sit down. "Who allowed you to come here? Get out." After seeing Leng Ruoxue and the others, Leng Wanqiu, who was sitting by the bed, revealed endless hatred in her eyes and said fiercely, "Leng Wanqiu, it's not your turn to decide the Leng family now." Leng Shuang's beautiful face was cold as she warned in an unfriendly tone, "Big sister, please forgive me for losing my composure." However, they were the ones who caused Meyer to be like this, so I couldn't control my emotions. "Please forgive me, big sister." Leng Wanqiu held back the anger in her heart and said gently in a low voice, "Humph." She would deal with Leng Shuang properly after she became the patriarch's wife, so she could only bear with it now. "Don't call me big sister. I can't hold this honor. Also, by the way, don't even think about marrying Leng Yimin as long as I'm alive," Leng Shuang said domineeringly. "Patriarch." Leng Wanqiu ignored Leng Shuang and looked at Leng Yimin with tears in her beautiful eyes. However, Leng Yimin turned his head and didn't look at Leng Wanqiu at all. "Let me tell you too. I want marry into the Sun family for your daughter. Your daughter isn't qualified to marry my brother either," Leng Ruoxue said timely. "Leng Ruoxue, you harmed your own clansmen. Not only do you not know how to repent, you actually—" Leng Wanqiu couldn't continue. Faint tears rolled down her eyes. Her tear-stained appearance was enough to make any man's heart soften. Unfortunately, no one present except Leng Yimin liked to treat women gently. Leng Yimin didn't dare to pay attention to other women with Leng Shuang around. "Clansman? You're not talking about Leng Rume, are you?" Leng Ruoxue's face was full of curiosity. "Rume is the daughter of the patriarch and can be considered your master. But now, she can only lie in bed forever because of you. Shouldn't you be ashamed? There will inevitably be injuries in the battle, so we can't let you pay with your life. We just want you to do something now and find someone to rely on for the rest of Rumai's life. Why aren't you willing?" Leng Wanqiu questioned with tears in her eyes, her words even more like how much her daughter had been wronged. Leng Ruoxue was a little speechless after hearing Leng Wanqiu's words. What kind of logic was this? The patriarch's daughter was her master? What was she even thinking? She even wanted her to compensate him. Dream on. Could it be that making you Leng Yimin's wife is also a form of compensation for you and your daughter? Leng Shuang said with a spurious smile. Leng Wanqiu's words made her blush a little. She had seen shameless people, but she had really never seen someone so shameless. "I raised a pair of children for the patriarch. Shouldn't the patriarch give me a title?" Leng Wanqiu questioned softly. She was full of confidence now that she had the patriarch backing her up. "Should I?" "Leng Wanqiu, we both know what happened back then. Do I have to say it?" Leng Shuang questioned disapprovingly. "I don't understand what matriarch means." Leng Wanqiu pretended to be stupid. "Leng Wanqiu, didn't you plan everything back then?" Leng Shuang chuckled and looked at Leng Wanqiu lightly. "I don't know what the matriarch is talking about. Back then, it was clearly the patriarch who had a disorderly nature after drinking and bullied me. I was the victim, and for so many years, the patriarch didn't give me a title. I didn't say anything either," Leng Wanqiu said, seemingly aggrieved. "Leng Wanqiu, do you know why you were able to live well for so many years and your children are treated like the eldest miss and young master? Leng Shuang said with a spurious smile. Then her beautiful eyes looked at Leng Yimin gently. Rumei and her brother are the children of the patriarch. Isn't it natural to have the treatment of the young miss and the young master? Moreover, the patriarch loves them very much, Leng Wanqiu said calmly. Ha! What a joke. A pair of illegitimate children of unknown origins enjoy the same treatment as the young master. Do you think I, the matriarch of the family, can tolerate it? Leng Shuang smiled maliciously, as if she was looking at a dead person. Humph. She was even ruthless to her own man, let alone a cheap woman who missed another man. Chapter 814. The Ruthless Leng Shuang 4. What do you mean? Leng Wanqia's heart trembled as she said uneasily. Do you think the clansmen will accept them without my permission? Accept a pair of bastards with unknown fathers? Leng Shuang smiled mockingly. They are the patriarch's children. You actually said that they are bastards. Patriarch, you have to uphold justice for Wanqiu. The matriarch is too much, Leng Wanqiu said aggrievedly. The patriarch's child? Leng Wanqiu, do you think everyone is a fool? In fact, Leng Yimin didn't touch you at all back then. Leng Shuang said this fact very cruelly. What? Don't spout nonsense. Leng Yimin and Leng Wanqia's voices sounded at the same time. One was surprised and the other was guilty. I'm not spouting nonsense. The child's father told me this himself. Moreover, he said a few of your characteristics, Leng Shuang explained. Madam, is what you said true? Leng Yimin's face was full of disbelief. In fact, he felt a little guilty about these two women. However, he didn't love Leng Wanqiu, so he could only compensate the child. Even though he also wanted to give Leng Wanqiu a title, Leng Shuang refused, so he didn't force her. After all, he knew that he had already hurt his wife. Yes, father-in-law knows about this too, Leng Shuang said lightly. Madam, why didn't you tell me earlier if you knew that I didn't touch her? Why did you punish me? Leng Yimin was aggrieved. Because you're too soft-hearted. My father-in-law also said that he wanted to punish you. Otherwise, how can you bear the responsibility of being the head of the family in the future? Leng Shuang said honestly. For more than 20 years, she had been punishing Leng Yimin as well as herself. However, her husband's gentle character really needed to be tempered. I see. Madam, why did you encourage me to be close to them even though you know that those two children aren't mine? Leng Yimin was a little puzzled. Thinking about it now, this really didn't match Leng Shuang's character. Of course we have to put on a full show. Let them enjoy the treatment of the eldest miss and young master first. When it happens in the future, they will fall hard, Leng Shuang said with slight hatred. She had never been a kind person. How could she let go of someone who dared to plot against her, and even let that person lead a peaceful life? Therefore, she held that pair of bastards high up. In the future, the extreme contrast would probably make them collapse. Madam, you even schemed against me. Leng Yimin smiled bitterly. However, he had no right to blame Leng Shuang because what happened back then was indeed because of him. Who asked you to like to be protective of the fairer sex? My man doesn't need to care about other women. How will you remember if I don't teach you a deep lesson? Leng Shuang was ruthless to others, but she was even more ruthless to herself. Otherwise, she wouldn't have drugged her husband. Madam, I already know my mistake. Leng Yimin was very depressed. Leng Wanqiu, do you have any last words to say now? Leng Shuang ignored the pitiful Leng Yimin and turned her gaze to Leng Wanqiu. Leng Shuang, you want to kill me? No. You can't kill me. My great-grandfather won't let you go if you kill me. Leng Wanqiu threatened, thinking of her backer. Are you talking about Leng Xing? Unfortunately, he can't care about you anymore. He's already dead. Leng Shuang gloated. Well, Leng Ruoxue didn't acknowledge her sister for nothing and helped her so much. No. This is impossible. Great-grandfather is powerful. How can he die? Who killed him? Leng Wanqia's face was full of disbelief. It could also be said that she could not accept this fact. It's me, Leng Ruoxue said lightly. You. Leng Ruoxue, how dare you? The Leng family won't let you go. Leng Wanqiu laughed proudly. Haha, Did Leng Ruoxue still want to live after killing her great-grandfather? This time, she could finally take revenge for her daughter. I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you that Leng Yan and Leng Feng are also dead. Moreover, I killed them, Leng Ruoxue said calmly. Leng Shuang and Leng Yimin immediately broke out in cold sweat when they heard this and felt uneasy at the same time. It was really too ruthless. The Leng family would probably be in chaos this time. However, they also knew that this matter was no longer something they could manage. No. This is impossible. Leng Wanqiu roared. She didn't dare to believe this fact because if this was true, what would happen to her? She didn't dare to imagine. Nothing is impossible in this world. The strong decide everything. They are not as strong as me and provoked me, so naturally, they will not have a good end. As for you, even if Kerr thinks of something that doesn't belong to her, she will still be taught a lesson. Leng Ruoxue said honestly. With this woman's actions, she could not obtain anyone's sympathy. A person valued self-awareness, but this woman happened to not have it. As the saying goes, a pitiful person must have something hateful, and she was definitely looking at the pitiful typical representative, making others grit their teeth in hatred. Big sister, what do you plan to do with this woman? Leng Ruoxue turned her head to Leng Shuang and asked. Well, Leng Shuang had tolerated for so many years. She shouldn't let her go. Otherwise, it wouldn't be Leng Shuang's character. Sister, do you have a good idea? Well, should I learn from sister and treat her daughter first before making her suffer a living hell? Leng Shuang asked after some thought. Big sister, you can decide this kind of thing yourself. Well, on the account that you've planned for so many years, I won't snatch her from you. However, if you want to let her go, then they're mine. Leng Ruoxue made it very clear that she wouldn't let Leng Wanqiu go. After all, this mother and daughter had the intention to kill her. How could she let them live well? Sister, I won't let them go, Leng Shuang promised. Then she took out a white porcelain bottle from her storage ring, and took out 2 pills from it. One was forcefully stuffed into Leng Wanqiu's mouth, and the other was given to Leng Rumei, who was lying on the bed and unable to speak, but still staring at them. Yes, women are the worst. Leng Ruoxue nodded in agreement. Then she looked at the porcelain bottle in Leng Shuang's hand curiously. Well, what did her sister give them? Chapter 8:15. The Sun Family Invites 1. Leng Shuang, you can't treat me like this. Leng Wanqiu, who was struggling on the verge of death, couldn't help shouting. This is the 1,000 poison pill. It was refined with almost 1,000 poisonous herbs. The efficacy is special. I specially prepared it for you and your daughter. This pill won't take your lives immediately, but it will torture you and make you wish you were dead. Leng Shuang explained calmly, looking at Leng Wanqiu as if she was looking at a dead person. Haha. Sister, since you've already decided what will happen to them, we can leave this place too. However, you better send someone to watch over this place lest someone can't bear to let them go. Leng Ruoxue saw Leng Yimin frown from the corner of her eye and revealed a trace of pity. So she reminded lightly, yes, I won't let anyone have the chance to take advantage. In fact, it doesn't matter even if they are released. This medicine can't be cured. They will still die a month later. Leng Shuang said confidently. Then she ignored Leng Wanqiu and her daughter, who were gradually taking effect, and pulled Leng Ruoxue out of Leng Rumei's room. In the snowfall garden. On a stone bench in the garden, Leng Shuang looked at Leng Ruoxue sitting opposite her with a worried expression and sighed. Big sister, what's wrong? Leng Ruoxue asked with some amusement. The woman who coveted her man had already been punished, but Leng Shuang sighed. Sister, Leng Xing's grandfather and granddaughter are all dead. I wonder how those ancestors will react. Leng Shuang said her worries. Alas! She got along very well with Leng Ruoxue, so she was really worried about her safety. Big sister, since we're here, let's take things as they come. Think about how quickly you'll grow old. Leng Ruoxue said nonchalantly. So what if they were so-called old ancestors? They were just mystic supremacies that had cultivated for a long time. Therefore, she wasn't afraid as long as they were still mystic supremacies. Sister, there are many Leng family members and they are complicated. Therefore, even though Leng Xing and the others are dead, someone might jump out for the sake of benefits, Leng Shuang analyzed. That's good. Let's settle it together. Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. Sister. Leng Shuang was very helpless. Why wasn't this girl worried at all? Big sister, I've already handed the rest to the Grand Elder, so let's not worry, Leng Ruoxue said honestly. Really? I'm relieved. Leng Shuang nodded and felt relieved. Okay, don't worry. I think what you should do now is to look after your man lest you get schemed against by other women, Leng Ruoxue teased. Bad girl, even elder sister is teasing you. However, little sister, aren't you curious about how I punished your brother-in-law? Leng Shuang pretended to be angry and then couldn't help asking. This is a secret between you and your wife. I won't ask if you don't tell me yourself. Leng Ruoxue might be curious, but she respected other people's privacy very much. Moreover, she knew not to ask what she shouldn't ask, so she naturally wouldn't do anything to make things difficult for others. It's so good to have a sister like you, Leng Shuang said with emotion. However, she still didn't say what happened between her and Leng Yimin. Well, just consider it as giving that man some face. Big sister, I have something to tell you, Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. Sister, speak frankly. Leng Shuang was a little amused. Big sister, we'll leave the Leng family later, Leng Ruoxue said. They had already discussed it, and Fengda and the others were probably almost ready. Leave in a while. Why are you in such a hurry? Does the Grand Elder know? Leng Shuang asked one question after another. Big sister, I originally wanted to leave without saying goodbye, but since you're here, I'll greet you. I didn't tell anyone else, Leng Ruoxue explained. Sister, I'm afraid it's not appropriate for you to leave now. The Sun family suffered heavy losses in this competition. They probably won't let go of this opportunity if they know that you left proud Cold City. Leng Shuang began to worry again when she heard Leng Ruoxue say that she was leaving. Leng Xing's grandfather and granddaughter have all died in my hands. Is big sister still worried about me? Leng Ruoxue asked in return. In fact, she wanted to say that she didn't care about the Sun family at all. However, she felt that it was better to keep a low profile, so she didn't say it. Where is little sister going? Leng Shuang could not help but ask. I don't know. Wherever we go counts. Leng Ruoxue said. They originally wanted to go to the Dark Night Seas, but the Sun family was ultimately a big problem, so she decided to go to Sunzhou City. However, she couldn't tell Leng Shuang this. Otherwise, this worried sister of hers would probably be worried to death. Then stay away from the Sun family's territory. The Sun family might not be as strong as before, but we still can't underestimate them, Leng Shuang reminded. She knew that she couldn't stop Leng Ruoxue from leaving, but she had to remind her. Okay sister, don't worry. We won't fight the Sun family head-on, Leng Ruoxue promised. She wouldn't fight the Sun family head-on. She was just giving herself to them. That's good. Leng Shuang nodded. Miss, we're ready. Suddenly, Fengda's voice interrupted them. Yes, big sister, we're leaving. You should pretend not to know. Leng Ruoxue reminded. Okay. Leng Shuang knew Leng Ruoxue did it for her own good. Otherwise, if the Grand Elder knew that she didn't report the matter, he would definitely not let her go. Just like that, Leng Shuang reluctantly stood outside the Snowfall Garden and watched Leng Ruoxue and the others leave the Leng family. At this moment, the forbidden area in the Leng family's back mountain was also not calm. In a room in the forbidden area, the three Leng Xiaoyu brothers, the Grand Elder, and a few old ancestors of the Leng family were gathered here. However, the Leng family members of the old ancestors were nothing in front of the three of them. Ancestors, you have to uphold justice for Leng Feng, his grandfather, and his granddaughter. An old man in his 60s said loudly. Make the decision? What decision? The three of us have long ignored the affairs of the Leng family for many years. You can cultivate in peace. Don't get involved in those mundane affairs if there's nothing else. It won't be beneficial to your cultivation level. Leng Xiaoxiao, Leng Xiaoyu's third brother, said calmly with raised eyelids. In fact, he understood what this old man meant. He was just pretending. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.